How's it hanging, YouTube? Peter here, Ginger Joe the Geek. Welcome back to the channel for a bit of a kind of an ad hoc thrown together show where we're going to be doing some 1/6 scale action figure discussion following on from May the 4th. And we're also going to do a quick review of Guardians of the Galaxy. So if you haven't seen Guardians, don't worry. We're going to literally split the show in half so you can stick around for the first part and jump out at the end if you don't want the spoilers. So can't do it alone. So we are joined as usual by my good friend Ben. How are you doing, Benjamin? Don't know what I said there.
Yeah,
I kind of went,
Benjamin.
How are you doing?
As I'm commonly known. As you know, backstage, I've told you how I'm actually doing. But for the purposes of the internet, I'm doing great, mate. Happy to be here.
Good stuff.
No, I am happy to be here. It's going to be nice to let off some steam and talk dolls and alien films.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good, very good. And we've got a lot to talk about because Guardians. Oh, well, yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, very cool. And I'm very, very pleased to say we are joined once again by our good friend Andy. How are you doing?
Guys, you didn't learn the first time when you invited me on this channel. I'm so looking forward to talking about overpriced plastic dolls with my third favourite set of people.
Wait, who does that put us behind? Hold on.
Yeah, who's that? Yeah. No, always a pleasure to have you, mate. And I'm sure I think you're going to find it hard to resist some of the figures on display tonight. Because there's a lot of Star Wars. Well, is there a lot of Star Wars content? I'm going to ask you at the end.
Not enough.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you at the end as to whether you're happy or not with the May the 4th kind of releases. Because, but yeah, we will be joined. We will be joined by James T. Keegan, our, as everybody knows, our YouTube gaming specialist, all with computers and stuff like that. And his computer doesn't work. Exactly. Indeed, Andy. But his computer's not working. So he'll be joining us. I mean, I can see in the bottom of my screen, device not connected. Well, you'll be with us soon, I'm sure. Just quickly jumping into the comments. We've got good old StreamYard. Thank you very much for joining. We've got Collector Joy. Thank you very much for joining. And we've got good old Jack. Thank you for joining once again, Jack. We've got JP Venom. Thank you, Pete. And we've got Comic Lad Simon. Thank you very much for watching, Simon. Okay, guys. So is James here? Is that?
Hello.
Hello, James. I mean, yeah, James.
Can you hear me?
Oh, sweet Jesus! Yes.
Yeah. Okay. My mic is on, but my camera.
It's for the best, I think. We've seen what's on the camera.
Okay, we'll crack on, James, whilst you sort out your technology related issues. As I said, guys, we're going to be talking 1/6 scale action figure news, and we're going to be talking a Guardians review at the end of the show. 1/6 scale, we're going to do what we did last time. So I'll talk about some of the my friggin' brain's gone blank again. Third-party figures, and Ben will do the Hot Toys stuff.
Non-commissioned figures.
Non-commissioned figures is what I said earlier. Yeah. I'm not feeling very well. Can you not tell me?
Oh, don't say that. I feel bad now.
Just picking on us, bullying. Anyway, so we'll make a start because there's quite a lot to get through. Ben, you've not seen these slides, so I've just chucked all kinds of shit in to make you talk about, all right? But I thought we'd start with this. Now, I know this isn't a 1/6 scale, but this is something that you sent an image of. It's very, very sexy. So tell me a little bit about this.
So, yeah, this is the... you really are throwing me on the spot, aren't you? This is the Cal Kestis lightsaber that dropped on shopdisney.com, and they also had it at the parks. Splits in half. You can change color on it and everything. Yeah, 360, 370, I think, on the UK one, which is a lot of money, isn't it?
So, I mean, I had a look. I know it's a fair. I know it's a fair size, but I had a look at the others on the site, and they were all around the like 250 mark. So this seemed quite a. I don't know what the Darth Maul one was like. I would imagine that's maybe a similar length.
Well, they had a sale on. I don't know if the sale's still on, but there was a sale on. You could get a saber for about 130.
Yeah.
You know, one of the Vader ones or Luke or whatever. But yeah, this is preying on people that want that exclusivity. They want,
Yeah.
you know, or are super passionate about Cal. It's an easy path. I actually don't own a lightsaber.
I was just gonna say, because I've got a dueling saber, which is basically non-licensed, and it's called Saber, I think, and I mean, you might have seen my video. It's designed for basically fighting. I've got my son one. We both had a bit of a fight at Christmas. I haven't got like a licensed replica saber, and I kind of feel like I should. And you haven't got one either, Ben.
No, but from what I hear and what I see in terms of kind of comparison pictures and stuff, like a lot of the, you know, legacy official Disney sabers, the light's not that great in comparison to like getting one of these kind of third-party ones. So I think if I were to get one, I'd probably pick up one of these third-party ones, especially after seeing Simon's at Celebration with the interchangeable colors and sounds and like that appeals to me more than say having I don't know. I like the Kit Fisto one though.
Yeah. What about you, Andy? Have you got one?
I absolutely do not. This might be a step too far, lads. This might be a surefire way of getting divorced. So if you can send me a link, I might pick up one after the show.
I mean, you see, I've got my Sword of Romans and things like that, and I quite like having them on display. So I don't know. I might jump on one. Jack is just saying there, I got a Kit Fisto lightsaber. Very nice. Ben's now very jealous.
Favorite.
And Comic Art Sound, Art Sabers is better, but that's US. Is that the one you've got, Simon, the Art Saber? I'm not sure what one he had. I just know it was very flashy. Okay, moving on. Ben, I don't know if you wanted to talk about this particular figure or not.
Yeah, so this dropped alongside or just after a teaser image of the whole team, which I'm sure Peter will have in a couple of slides' time. But this is the first official drop from that teaser. Two versions. So you got the deluxe version here with the kind of spider head thing situation, which we'll talk about when we talk about the film later, and the kind of multiple arms and multiple gun attachment there as well. That's the teaser image. So I think I want this.
So do I.
You know, I think I've kind of, I don't know, like Marvel figures I struggle with a little bit. My first hot toy was my first hot toy was a Captain America Star Spangled Man. I got rid of it, but like I've sort of not really gone down the Marvel route with my collection, purely just because it's such a big rabbit hole just by itself. You could literally just be a Marvel Hot Toys collector or just a Star Wars Hot Toys collector, and that would be enough. But I think I want to kind of have so many things represented. But I feel like out of all of the MCU characters, and especially out of all the ones that Hot Toys have actually made a figure of, I think Groot and Rocket are probably the ones I'd want. And if you go backwards now, it's quite expensive to get the tall Groot and the Rocket kind of 2-pack. I don't think I'd want that kind of lanky teenager look of Groot. I hate teenagers, so I don't think I'd want that. I think this feels like just a great medium of like that kind of iconic tall Groot, but he's kind of like stock. You know, he's the brute of the group in this one, and I really like the feel of that. And I think with Rocket's outfit as well, this is obviously from the Lanning kind of comic run, which has got what got me into kind of Guardians, way before the sort of films came out. So I feel like that's the kind of premiere version of Rocket that I would want as well. So yeah, I think if I were gonna do any of this, it's probably just going to be Groot and Rocket. But I do think the Drax has been a long time coming. The first release of Drax is not great. The body's not great, and it's just not aged well. So I think that would be a really welcome release if they do drop that. Nebula could be really cool with an arm and some of the different things you could do there. So
they've just announced. They've already a couple of months ago announced a Mantis, haven't they, from the holiday special, the Christmas special. So I'm kind of surprised We've done
Well, it's
another
an
one.
it's easy money, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because you know you don't have to change anything. It's just a new outfit. Easy money for Star Lord because they'll probably just use the
same.
you know
That's
Endgame or Infinity head sculpts. Nebula pretty much the same. New arm. That's it. So
So I've already got a rocket. I've got the Endgame rocket with my Iron Patriot.
the little scarf.
Yeah. I wasn't interested really in having the full Guardians displayed in my collection, but now in that uniform, in that setup, I think I need all of these. I think I need a Guardians display. But that's, you're looking at probably what, $1.50, if not more, for the full set.
Oh, easy. I mean, Groot alone's like 300, I think. So.
Yeah. Imagine if they did a little Cosmo to go with it.
I mean, Crackling Cosmo 2-pack. Like, if
Yeah.
I'd sell everything just to get that.
Andy, what about yourself? Is this something that would tempt you? Any of these?
No, like the Groot isn't for me, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think I have that affinity because I haven't seen the movie yet. That might change.
Yeah.
And I would imagine this figure would take up a lot of real estate in a detail on a shelf somewhere. So yeah, probably one that would pass me by. But again, once I see the movie, that could well change.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. If you're going to have him displayed with the arms out and all that kind of jazz, it is going to be a hefty boy, isn't it?
I think the thing with the Groot as well, it's that they're from very niche moments of the film. So this moment with the guns is from one specific moment. The head thing is from one specific moment. So unless you're kind of pairing him up with other individuals from said moment, then it doesn't necessarily make as much sense, I don't think.
I mean, that's a really good point, Ben, because if I was going to go all in and get the full set, there's no way on one shelf you're going to be able to fit the full team plus Groot doing his gun thing and all the rest of it, is it? You're going to have to literally pose them like they're on that image there.
I'd just be getting the standard one myself. If I do get him, I'll just get the standard one.
Yeah. Good stuff.
But
nice.
it's the frustrating wait now that you say you pre-order Groot and then none of the team the rest of the team don't get made. Teaser images mean fuck all for Hot Toys. It does not ensure anything. So it's like I'm just so frustrated with this culture of like just drop them all at once. Like people will order. If people want them, they'll order them.
That's the thing. Like I couldn't bear it if I was to get one of them or two of them and then Mantis or Nebula didn't come out. Yeah, interesting. Ayo.
You're in
James
8-bit, but you're here.
Yeah.
I just Apple make bad products, I have to say. What's up? It's good to be here.
Oh no. We've done that bit. We've done that. We'll move on.
Sorry, okay.
Yeah.
No,
how are you, James? Are you well?
I'm good, yeah. Excited to talk lots of good news, especially about the movie, but we'll get to later. I've been looking for a Guardian set, so this is a tempting one. But I've never been a fan of them all like in the same outfit. I don't really like uniforms. Like I like them all having different looks. So I probably pick one of them to have wearing this, and then the rest of them I'll go with their individual outfits.
Interesting. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, guys, moving on. This is interesting. I don't know if you've seen this one, Ben. This is Iron Warrior, which is clearly Wolverine. This was kind of hinted at.
Is he under witness protection or something?
I don't know. So the original site put it up with the head sculpts, and the head sculpts were pretty identical to one I've seen before by, I can't remember who it was by, but it wasn't the Hot Toys one. But then they immediately took it down and put these images up as well. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. If it's, I don't know, but
it's 112.
Cool. Yeah, pretty cool look. And I don't know whether it's something that I would particularly jump on, but I just thought it was interesting in terms of, we've talked a lot about how these third parties are starting to kind of relax a little bit with some of the licenses and not necessarily worry about people going after them. Because I mean, you don't get much bigger really than Wolverine, do you? And then last time we talked about Obi-Wan being produced by a third party company.
Yeah,
it just feels like they're starting to get a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's quite a few. There's a lot of third party Hugh Jackman Wolverine. So,
But I would argue maybe not to this quality, because this was. I wish I had the proper image of the head sculpt. This
it's
was
good for
very
112.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm very impressed it's 112. Like, because I was looking at it, just thinking 1/6, and then obviously I saw it as 112.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
very, very impressive.
I have a newbie question, if I may. Why have they disguised the face when we clearly know who it is? What's the point of that?
I have no idea. The only thing I could think of, like I say, when I saw the head sculpt, it didn't look like a head sculpt I'd seen by Hot Toys or anybody like that. But I was sure I've seen it as a Ben, these custom people who do custom head sculpts and sell them. Yeah, but like the proper, really high quality ones. It was almost a spit and double of a Wolverine head sculpt I've looked at before, because I looked at picking it up for my Sideshow Wolverine figure, and it was like a lot of money. So I don't know if they've nicked the head sculpt or something, and they're using someone else's work, which is why they've blurred it out. Maybe. I don't know.
Surely that's what's going to be the sort of make or break if you're going to actually pick this one up is the actual head sculpt.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I do like that costume, and I have looked at that Hot Toys version from, is it Days of Future Past? No.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, Days of Future Past. Yeah, quite nice. Quite nice. I just put this up. I don't know, Ben, if you want to mention these are just these weird Cosby things, but they produced the Guardians line as well. These are of no interest to me at all. Andy, these something that you would pick up?
I've seen these in like B&M and or maybe Home Bargains.
I got this the Batman one at B&M.
Yes,
I got this for like £11. I was in Pimp Planet yesterday, and they were selling the same one for like €40. I was like,
cheeky bastards.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense. It's them getting into the sort of Funko-esque line,
that's the idea, isn't it? It's an alternative to them.
You'd have to pay me to have one.
You'd have to pay me to buy a Funko at this point, but that's another story in another show.
Yeah.
I saw you go in on Funko, and I quite enjoyed it. I got my popcorn out. I was like, spilled the tea.
Yeah. Interesting. This took us completely by surprise. All I can think of, Ben, is, have you done an episode of It's Not That Bad on Fantastic Four, on this version of Fantastic Four?
Not on this version, no. I
mean,
the first one is that bad. I think that's why. I might do Silver Surfer, maybe, but this team came totally out of left field. I wasn't expecting this one at all. I don't know why anybody would want this figure, but I have to say the head sculpt of the bloke from, I can't remember his name, from Nip Tuck, I think that's a pretty good head sculpt.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it's strange if you're doing a Doom from this movie, to go with the Silver Surfer version first.
Yeah.
Rather than do the classic kind of costume.
You don't think that's a good
one of them? I think it's a...
Not really, no. I don't think... No.
Can we swear on this show?
Yeah.
This is shite. This is absolutely atrocious. It's pure shite. It's a glorified, Black Series type figure. Like, just looks about. Crap.
It's just such a random decision. Yeah. Like the timing, like there's nobody talking about Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer right now, and like even if there was, this is probably the last character you would have done out of everyone. Because if you were to do this character, then you're going to do the first version with the green cloak and the more iconic look. Like, it's just so left field, like out of the box. I love the display stand with the surfboard there. Very, very cool.
I just think, like you say, it's interesting because last show we did, we showed that kind of comic accurate green caped original Doom.
Yeah. If
you had the choice between that Doom and this, I don't know why anybody would be picking this up. I just can't, like you say, I don't know. It's bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. And it's interesting that the additional accessories and the head sculpt and the image are blurred out again.
I've not heard of this company before either.
No. I do think, the I can't remember the guy's name. The human head sculpt there is pretty good.
Julian McMahon or something like that, is it?
You said that without moving your lips. But yeah, very impressive. Yeah.
I almost never looked into his name because he's that shit in the film.
Yeah.
I liked
just
him.
do not
I thought
care
he
for
was
that
good.
actor.
Yeah. Yeah. Phil's not impressed. Phil's not buying this one. Phil, this one might tempt you. Ben.
Yes.
Good. It's not good though for me. Where do we start? Okay, Hot Toys, right? It's about having any kind of company, right? If you're doing marketing, a big part of that marketing is setting expectations, right? Of your fans, of your followers, whoever it may be. So, with that in mind, if for every May the 4th for the last like 3 years you've released 3 figures, then 4 figures, last year 5 figures on May the 4th you announced, to then announce 2 new figures on May the 4th is and one of them is a fucking trooper, like, is just it's baffling to me. It was a really disappointing kind of day, and they kind of dropped the 2, and I was like, okay, 2 kind of fairly niche Clone Wars kind of specific figures. I'm sure we'll get a second wave this afternoon or this evening, you know, our time, with the Return of the Jedi anniversary stuff. It never came. I woke up in the morning, I checked my phone, it never came.
Is it because
So
you didn't
I-
get Max Rebo? Is that why you were upset?
I'm furious. Max Rebo and 9 Num. That's all I wanted. That's all I asked for, Andy.
So you
No,
need
no, no.
length.
But like, jokes aside, like, even if they were to only do 2 figures and those 2 figures were like Han and Chewie, I think a lot of people would have, me included, wouldn't be sat here whinging, you know, in the same way. This Sidious is, it's so specific to the Clone Wars in terms of the tailoring and everything like that. Like, because I need a Sidious. I'd love to have a Sidious. I'm trying to kind of, it's going to probably take me about 10 fucking years, but I'm trying to build up, you know, a dark side kind of shelf. And I'd love a Sidious, but I look at this and I'm just like, it's so specific to the Clone Wars. It's not even like, I think I might have been more interested if it was Revenge of the Sith version. You know, with even more burgundy, but like this kind of mix match, you know, like I don't think the head sculpt's great, to be honest. I don't think it's that good. I think it's okay with the cloak over, but at the same time, it's almost the wrong expression, you know, for him wielding sabers and stuff. It almost doesn't sort of suit what's happening in that moment. It's just a really kind of yeah, it's a swing and a miss for me, this one, unfortunately. I know Clone Wars people will be really happy, and anyone who's got that Clone Wars Darth Maul will be overjoyed because it perfectly pairs up, you know, with this Sidious. But yeah, I'm disappointed because I would have liked a Sidious that I would have wanted, and this is not one that I want.
So to summarize, Ben, it's a no from you, yeah?
Fucking May the 4th, man. What's wrong with, like, Howard Chan's a Star Wars fan as well. Ridiculous.
James, any you interested in this particular figure?
I love the look of it. I think it looks fantastic. I really love that design for Palpatine in the Clone Wars, like the color of the robes and everything. I like the smirk. I think he does look like that. Particularly that fight with Maul, that is kind of the 2 lightsabers are to kind of reenact, and that a lot of the promo images show. He is kind of smirking like he's toying with Maul, so I think that fits him. The head sculpt does look a little bit off. I don't know if maybe it is the expression, but like, yeah, if I was going down a Clone Wars route, and I'm going to get an Anakin from Clone Wars, so you know, potentially, if I was to get a Palpatine, I honestly would probably go for this one.
Okay, interesting. Austin saying the price point's $265. That's not bad for a.
It's pretty
Yeah,
good,
it's reasonable.
Yeah.
Star Wars
Andy.
is always cheaper than Marvel, though, and
Yeah.
other stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I as you know, I just like to say it to rub it into Ben. I got the Ahsoka, and that's meant to be a deluxe figure, and you got very little with that, and that was $310 or something like that. I was quite surprised at how pricey that was for considering what you actually got with it, you know. So 265 seems like a bit of a steal, really, because you get just as much with, if not more, with Darth Sidious then than you do with Ahsoka.
And again, I love, I've said this multiple times, but I love seeing like a live action interpretation of a Clone Wars thing. So that's just another, seeing actual Ian McDermott in that outfit is pretty cool.
Yeah. Andy, what about you? Is this something that would tempt you?
Ben, you know I love you, but you're wrong in this instance. This is absolutely fantastic for me. But in fairness, my expectations are really quite low as a complete noob for this scene, because last week you presented me with a red Doctor Doom, and this week you presented me with a kind of a silver Black Series Doctor Doom, and then this appears on screen.
Yeah.
I think the face sculpting this is absolutely spot on. Would it be something that I'd pick up? Probably not. But I think this is great, and Ben, you're wrong.
I mean, you do pose an interesting point, Andy, to be honest, in that, out of all of what Ben's collected the longest, and I've probably collected for about a year and a bit or something now, and I do wonder if you become, I wouldn't dare assume this about you, Ben, but if you become overcritical, do you know what I mean? And Andy's coming at it with new, youthful eyes, not jaded and, bitter, shall I say. And he's looking at things differently.
Wow.
Say how
Shots
you feel.
fired. I will say, Ben, I agree that May the 4th as a whole was a bit of a wet fart from Hot Toys. Like, I was expecting at least one more banger of a figure.
The dry fart, it wasn't. I wish it was wet.
I was really like, I was checking back Hot Toys Facebook page every hour, pretty much on the hour, to like see would they put up something new. And like, I was hoping for a Cal Kestis. Like, I really want that figure. I really hope that's a thing. So yeah, I get it. If you're disappointed, like I'm a bit disappointed too. I was hoping there'd be something I'd really go, oh my god, I need that, but there wasn't. So
I agree. And we've got a slide at the end to talk about May the 4th overall and what would hoped would come for it, because I think probably it's like you, I thought there was more. Sorry, Andy.
No, not at all. I was just going to say, like, it's testament to this show and to you guys, and this is me being nice for a change, that I didn't even look to see what had been released. I didn't look at Twitter or anything like that, because I knew you guys would be doing this show and that I'd be able to see all the stuff that's going to, because I'm only seeing this for the first time.
Source.
So you are the source of my hot toy fandom. So
we've got you covered, Andy.
What the is this?
Right, look. Bear with us, right? Bear with us. Just pretend you can't see.
Skeleton Knight.
Pretend you can't see the hideous Nick Cage face, right? Don't look at the hideous Nick Cage face. Just look at the other one, Ghost Rider. We haven't had a Ghost Rider for a long, long time. I've pre-ordered this. I know the Nick Cage head sculpt shit, but who's going to be using the Cage head sculpt on this?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Nobody's using a Nick Cage head sculpt on this. It's going to be the Ghost Rider one. Present toys, we've talked about them before. Me and Ben have got some Present Toys figures. The bodies are quite often not the best, but the costumes are pretty good. The Indiana Jones costume is pretty good. I'm wondering, Ben, if this is going to be leather, because we know that potentially.
Yeah, kids pre-order list it as real leather pants.
Is it?
And
see, I didn't even look at it. I just pre-ordered it.
Present Toys seems to be a bit.
You should read what you're ordering.
I get too excited. Too excited.
I'm a little bit from this head sculpt because I have a Present Toys Mad Max pre-ordered. This head sculpt has me a little worried because they've shown the face but not full, like with the mask kind of covering it. And I'm a bit like, oh no, because they have been very inconsistent in terms of head sculpts lately.
But you're not. I can't speak. Are you thinking the Ghost Rider head sculpt's not the best?
No, the Nick Cage one. So like my one is like just as a quality of likeness from Present Toys. I'm looking at that and going, I hope my Mad Max doesn't look that bad.
The Indie's pretty good, mind. The Indie's pretty good. Austin's saying real leather. Yeah, I've ordered the Blade as well, mate. And that was my theory. I thought Blade and Ghost Rider would look tremendous. Together.
Doing a little Marvel Knights shelf or something. Yeah.
Get a Midnight Suns.
Yeah, pre-ordered it. Yeah, we'll come to that one, Ben. We'll come to that. But yeah. So is this on anybody's list? I have, like I say, I've pre-ordered this. I accept that the Nick Cage head sculpt's not the best, but I think the Ghost Rider. Let's be honest, this is the only Ghost Rider we're going to get probably for a long time. I would have thought.
It's on my
Ben
list.
Sorry, mate. It's on your list, Andy.
It's on my list after you've bought it and you've done the review of it, and then I can see if it's shit or not. And if it's not
Yeah.
shit, then I'll buy it.
Good plan. Good plan. Yeah, James.
No, I do have a lot of nostalgia for that movie, and I liked it a lot more than most people at the time. But yeah, it's
Because you were 4 when it came out.
I was 12. Thank you. Excuse me.
Ben, how about you?
Oh, that means I was older than 12. What's my excuse? Again, the film, it kind of marks that beginning era of like Marvel, films, and I'll always sort of look back on it fondly, despite it being absolutely awful. But I will still protest that the visuals of Ghost Rider are still Freudian slip, are still one of the coolest like visuals in a comic book movie, I think. I actually prefer, in the second film where his jacket's like burnt and bubbling, and oh man, it still looks incredible now, that film. But yeah, so I'm hovering over the pre-order button for this. I really am hovering. I think it closes it on 28th of May, which is really fucking impractical because it's like 2 days before my payday. But I'm really
only a 20 quid pre-order or something like that. It's not much.
I only don't have £20 right now. I can't even afford a Freddo, for fuck's sake. But yeah, so I'm very, 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 very tempted. And especially because the bite's coming as well. It's and realistically, I don't think the bite will be too expensive. It'll probably be about $250 or something, I'd imagine, because it's third party. And the idea that you can potentially have a shelf with a character in their vehicle under £500 is a pretty kind of exciting prospect.
I wonder if it's going to have a light up. It must have a light up feature in the head.
That's what I was about to ask, because I seen the bike is obviously lit up.
Yeah.
I think they did I think it was Thunder Toys who did the Carter Slade, Ghost Rider, and he had a light up function, and the horse lit up as well. They did the horse with that one. I mean,
Very
people
cool.
who have that and can get this and have a Ghost Rider shelf, awesome.
And where does one pre-order this, guys? Where can we pre-order this?
Lots of
One
different
kit.
Facebook pages normally.
So all the Facebook pages and stuff.
Yeah, some of the ones that I sent, Ali, but 1/6 kit, do it. Moped. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Okay, Ben.
Can you come back to me, cheers?
Yeah, sure. So this is one of the Clone Commanders, or Clone Commander Fox. I know nothing about the character. This is, again, one of the Star Wars announcements. James, you know much about this character?
He's from Clone Wars.
Thanks. Yeah. Andy, do you know much about this character?
Did you hear what I said?
No, mate, you said he's from Clone Wars and then you stopped.
Yeah, and I think you can play as him in one of the Battlefront games or something. He's just a clone commander, as the title says. I don't know if you ever see his. I'm assuming you see his face, which makes me wonder why there's not a head sculpt with this.
No idea.
Yeah, because I know Rex and all the others have that realistic interpretation of it's Tamara Morrison as the whatever design they have, and they don't have it for this one. So I don't know. Maybe you don't.
Yeah. Andy, what about yourself?
I love this. I think this is fantastic. This is so Commander Fox. He led the Coruscant Guard, if I remember right. I think this looks great. Whenever I see the sort of clones and stuff like that from a Hot Toy perspective, I know this sounds a bit silly, but I've got them all as like little Lego figures. So I'm like, that's how I know all the names and stuff like that of them, and I just think that this would display so well. I'm thinking that might be the rabbit hole that I'll go down from Hot Toys perspective, is just buying all the clones and the troopers and things like that.
There's a lot of them out there. Out there.
Oh, it's got to be great.
I mean, I have to say, I don't obviously collect these particular figures, but I think he looks phenomenal with that massive rifle there.
They do look really cool. Like that's the thing. I just don't know if I would get. Yeah, it's a rabbit hole, isn't it? Like it's separate from just Star Wars. It's like that's a whole another thing you fall into. Is getting all
Yeah.
the troops.
Ben, this is the one you've got on pre-order. This is something that you're interested in, no?
No, I don't. You know,
Yeah.
no, clones like. As you say, clones is a whole nother rabbit hole. I think if I were to get any clones, it would either be Rex or Cody, just because they're such kind of iconic characters. But when you kind of get to your Commander Foxes, it's pretty kind of it's a very specific kind of
Bit
realm
niche.
that you're getting into.
Mm.
Didn't he like kill fives or something? Fox, I can't remember, but I swear he like killed one of the guys who woke up to what was happening or something. I can't
Can't
remember.
remember. They all look the same.
Yeah.
Was this an announcement that got you excited?
No. It's just another bloody clone. Like I mean, like, fine, and I know it's going to make a lot of people happy. Andy being one, but like it's a very easy release. This is a very easy release for them. It's a release that you could have done half asleep, on a random Tuesday when things are a bit quiet with everything else that's going on. Oh, fuck it, we'll just drop a clone, Jim. Like, yeah.
I've changed my mind. I'm not buying it anymore, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not going to buy it.
It is like the Star Wars equivalent of an Iron Man figure. It's like, another
Exactly.
one.
How
Exactly.
dare you guys? Oh my god, this is shocking.
Moving on. I just wanted to mention this. So this is the So Toys. I think it's called the Night Spider or something like that. I can't remember the actual name of it. But this was a one that, remember when they did that that kind of teaser sheet a while ago? And we had to guess what figures. And we looked at this, and I have to say, I thought, what the fuck is that? It looks like dog shit.
We all took the piss about it, like, this looks so stupid.
Thought, who's going to be buying that? And then it's in hand now, and they've put these pictures out. I think it looks fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
I love
the
that.
weapon's really nice on the.
The textures and everything, like, it does look fantastic.
Fully
I don't like the
wired
design.
coat. I mean, the coat's fully wired, so you can bend it in all kinds of shapes. I just think it's a very unique piece that would stand out in the collection. I have to say, I am.
Peter's got to the point, guys, where he's starting to buy figures because they're unique. That's not enough reason to buy a figure, Peter. Stop. Stop it.
But do you not think that looks cool? Do you not think
fucking
that looks
hated
cool?
this when we first
I did.
saw it?
I did. Yeah, because I looked at it and I thought, who the fuck's what kind of an idiot's going to buy that? I didn't realize that was me.
You are the idiot. Unbelievable.
Andy, with your fresh, unjaded eyes, what are you thinking?
I'm sure I have those jeans and those boots. I'm almost certain of it. I think it's just like, coming from someone who's going to buy a fucking clone trooper, right? I've not really got an opinion on this one, but I like the jacket on it. I think it's something that people who maybe kit bash stuff will buy this to take the jacket off and put it on other figures. Or I could have just made that up to sound as if I knew what I was talking about. But to answer your question, no, I will not be buying this, Peter.
I think
I'm happy.
Got the Spider Noir, like, it's going to pair up pretty cool, as a pair.
I'm just getting that. I didn't get that at first, Darren, but now I get it. Third, the center image there, massive hand accessory. Yeah, good one. BDSM Spidey, not keen on that. Simon looks awful. Who asked you, Simon? Yeah.
I'm happy I'm not alone, though, because I thought the exact same when I saw photos of it. I was like, this actually looks like really impressive. So yeah, I'm with you, Pete. I'm not going to buy it, but it looks good.
No, I'm not going to buy it now that you've all mocked us, but I do think it looks cool. I do think it looks. Yeah, I've got no room for it in my spider shelf. And anyway, I might end up buying Venom instead, or Carnage. Yeah, or both.
Carnage.
This is sexy, mate. This is sexy.
Oh, take my money.
Yeah.
Now,
Ben, is this the one that got you excited?
Well, no, I mean, this was obviously just a drop, so we'd seen this. I'm excited by how quickly things are coming from announcement to kind of blogger photos. That is exciting because all of these, is, as far as I remember, were sort of announced maybe a year ago, just over a year ago. So it's kind of, I'd welcome that. I think that's quite an
Yeah.
exciting kind of thing. Hopefully we'll start to sort of see the end of these 2-year waits. Saying that, I think Scarlet Witch is currently about 2 years in the making.
Yeah, it's obscene, isn't it?
But yeah, no. Look, we all love Star Wars. Like one of the joys of Star Wars is that people love it for different reasons, and that kind of it splits into various different passions within the passion, and the Stormtrooper area is not particularly a passion of mine. Unfortunately, I'd always rather spend my money on a character, on a defined character. I guess if I had the money and you can get 2 of these flanking Vader or flanking, whoever it may be, Reva, Inquisitors, yeah. Do you have the Sideshow event slides? No. So Sideshow did, and it was just such like a consolation, like, oh, it's May the 4th, we're trying, where they basically kind of had an attractive person standing next to some figures. A lot of the figures we'd seen, but there were things like the 5th brother and the is it 4th sister, 7th sister? Can't keep up.
Something like that.
Fourth sister, I think. They were there, and those aren't officially up for pre-order yet, so that's potentially meaning that they're kind of actually coming. So yeah, if you're going to get one of those characters or a few of those characters to have a couple of these paired up, it's going to look great. But not for me. It's for Andy, though. I can tell. I can feel it.
Andy?
You felt correctly, Ben. This I really like this. I think now that I'm thinking about it, now that you've like put spread your wisdom, as it were, much to my disgust. I would say that once you buy one of these, you're going to have to army build these bad boys. But yeah, I'm going to stick to my Lego minifigure of the Pulse Trooper.
Okay.
Instance.
James?
If this is like a phase 2 trooper, so like they originated in Jedi Fallen Order, and I love the helmet look from that. It's like it's a singular visor instead of 2 eyepieces. So if there was a swappable helmet or something, I probably would have got one of these for my inevitable shelf of that. But yeah, I don't know. They do show up in the second
inevitable.
one.
Cow's not happening, James.
It'll happen. Let me dream, then. I think that they do appear in the second game, and that takes place right when Obi-Wan takes place. So maybe this design is in that, and I just didn't notice. But I like that look of the first phase of them more. So sort of a shame it's not one of them. But they might announce that down the road, since literally it's just a different helmet. Like,
so those helmets are based on Ralph McQuarrie's original designs for the Pulse Trooper.
Right. Very cool. Very good. Yeah. It does look a nice figure, mind. It does look. I think the red and the
helmet.
black. Yeah, shiny
really
helmet.
Shiny helmet.
Can't be a shiny helmet. This is interesting. Justice Teen. Yeah.
This is cool. I love this. I love this.
Yeah, it's nice. Are you going to buy this one then, Ben?
I might. It's going to be it's not going to be that expensive. It just represents such a defining moment of Steve Rogers' kind of story within the MCU and stuff. It's like a really iconic. I'd almost have this over some of the other suits because it kind of what it represents above everything else. So fuck yeah, and give us some bullies to go with him. Great.
I mean, I do like the head sculpt. I think the head sculpt's pretty good.
You could put this on the Hydra Stomper, what if version?
Yeah.
Version if you want to.
Yeah.
Good shout.
Andy, something you'd get?
I'm afraid not. Again, Ben, you're absolutely wrong with this one. No, I'm joking.
Nobody ever agrees with me, Andy. There's a reason they don't invite me on these other 1/6 channels.
Listen, if I'm going to be spending this sort of money, I want more than a trash can lid and a pair of questionable Clark shoes as my accessories. So no, not for me.
How dare you?
I mean, if the trash can lid was die cast, Andy, would that sway it for you?
Oh, sold. Yeah.
Thought so, yeah. No, I do like this, and Ben's right. This will probably be very cheap, I would have thought. I mean, I can't imagine it being over 150, I wouldn't have thought.
Once again, the shoes are like put there as an accessory. Like, why is that? That's so bizarre.
When you
It
didn't
has
have
shoes.
much else going on, then they've really got to try and sell.
Go for the
things
shoes. Go for
individually.
the shoes, yeah.
Yeah,
It's an interesting. Again, I've not heard of that company, but is it? What is
it's
it?
so
L-
basic.
L-
I honestly think this will probably be about 140 quid. Like, I cannot
Yeah.
imagine this being much at all.
But it would look pretty cool, stood back to back with a kind of Captain America, wouldn't it? To show the
Yeah, and a lot of
transition,
these
I guess.
custom guys have like dioramas of alleyways and things like that. You know, this is. I could do this. all
Stop
day,
selling
right?
it, boys.
Special.
Stop selling it. Come on, just let's move on. Next slide, quick.
I don't want it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen these before, but Hot Toys put some pictures out of it on May the 4th again. Ben, are you excited about these ones?
Yeah, this is released now.
Yeah.
You can buy this now. Again, this was announced on May the 4th last year, so it's that year turnaround. So really pleased about that. I really, really, really want a Battle Droid in my collection, if not two. But I don't want this Battle Droid.
Yeah,
I don't want the Generation 1. I want the clean, either just the clean one or the one with the yellow, you know, the Commander
Yeah.
sort of look, or with the red crest maybe. But yeah, so it's like, it's halfway what I want, but not exactly what I want. So I think there were, I can't remember what the photos were from, but there was another release that had photos of the plain Battle Droid in.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that means, as a bit of a tease, we are going to get that down. To be honest, actually, okay, record this. Oh, we're on the internet. They will release a plain Battle Droid for the Episode 1 anniversary next year.
I'll probably get that.
And I will.
Roger.
I will get two. I'd like to flanking all my bad guys there. That would be pretty.
Oh yeah.
Haven't seen what they've released for the Return of the Jedi anniversary. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's only May, so I'm still 100% confident that we're going to get Return of the Jedi stuff, just not when we thought we were going to get it.
Yeah, not linked to any kind of important Star Wars date.
Well,
Ben, there was a character in like a Star
Halloween.
Wars thing in the last year or so that was like a B1 head on like a protocol droid or something, and we were speculating if it was
quick
from the
draw. Quick draw.
Yeah.
What's it called? Quick draw. Something.
What was
I
that in?
love that guy. That was in Bad Batch. One of the
Okay.
racers. Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
catch there.
not for me. Is this for Andy or for James? Either of you guys interested in this one?
No, I'll get a Naboo one as soon as it comes out because again they're quite a big presence in Fallen Order, so it'd be cool to just have one to go with that.
These are
Or Survivor.
these are the figures that you pick up once you've got everything. Like
Yeah.
these are like the
Yeah.
add-ons almost, So
And again, Andy, like you said earlier, I can't help but think these would look a bit odd stood by themselves. You need a few of them to make it kind of make sense.
yeah,
I'm
it
very
needs a bit of
curious to
context.
feel them and how secure they are and the joints and if they
Yeah.
can stand without a stand and stuff like that.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so this is So Toys The Gentleman. This is obviously the Mr. Knight from the Moon Knight TV show. There's been another Moon Knight Mr. Knight figure released last week or the week before, which was CAC. And this is
It's
So
awful.
attempt. It was friggin' awful, the other one, but it
It's
came
so
with
bad.
the Khonshu head sculpt, which I quite liked. This is So's version, and I think this looks stunning. I think the costume's amazing. I think the tailoring's amazing. I love the head sculpt, both head sculpts. I think they look very cool. I wasn't massively enamored with the TV show. It was good, but it wasn't amazing. But I have pre-ordered this because I've decided I think this would look very cool, stood back to back with the Hot Toys Moon Knight that's coming out.
What's he like?
So you
we
bought
need
two of
like
the same figure.
we need the
Two of the same
Curb
character.
Your Enthusiasm music every time Peter says he's pre-ordered something, like diddly did diddly ding didding didding diddly.
Or a cash register.
Do you guys not think this looks good? Is this not something
I
you
think
fancy picking up?
superb.
it's stunning.
Tremendous.
Yeah, genuinely with the head sculpt and the tailoring. You're right, but like I'm just not a fan of. if I was to go for a Moon Knight, I get one, and I would get the actual costume, not
Yeah.
the Hot Toys version. Does that come with a head sculpt, the Oscar Isaac one?
This one doesn't come with the Khonshu head sculpt,
No,
unfortunately.
the Hot Toys one, does that come with a Oscar Isaac head sculpt?
I don't think it does. I
No,
can't.
see,
I can't remember seeing it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I like unmasked looks, so like that you could.
Yeah,
That would be
yeah.
cool. I'd love to see this on this head sculpt on that figure.
And one of the things that I think will look cool when I get this is to have it, like I say, side by side with Moon Knight, because the Moon Knight Hot Toys comes with a really nice crescent display kind of stand, which you'll have behind the two of them. I think it looks pretty smart. Andy, what about yourself?
I think this is fantastic. Absolutely stunning. There's very few things on this that you can actually pick out compared to the other ones that we've seen, where you can actually sort of nitpick and say, "Well, I don't like this, I don't like that." I think this is one of those figures that you don't necessarily need to be a fan of the TV show to pick this up. It's just such a good representation of the character. So I'm really looking forward to watching your video, Peter, which if you've not already done so, guys, please like, subscribe.
Narrow down the mind.
Very good. Thank you. Very good.
One thing I would say, is I hope they've sorted out their glue situation. So I know your Kingpin's fine, but a lot of people had an issue with Kingpin. Oh, it's not. Right. Yeah. So where the glue residue has kind of come through on the white, and it's turned the white a little bit yellow.
Is the Kingpin by is he by Soso?
Yeah.
Is he? Oh, I didn't realize. I mean, I was going to say that Soso Toys, I think, have been knocking it out of the park lately. I've just opened the Invincible figure, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, they don't put any instructions in the packet with that, which I know, I never read them anyway, but I noticed someone commented on my video, and then Justin did a review, and he didn't mention either. So I commented on Justin's video, and he replied to us that the hair pieces are removable on the two head sculpts. So not only is the neck, the brace or chest bit magnetic, the head's magnetic, and then the hair's magnetic as well. And they've not kind of indicated that anywhere. So after Justin's video, and I dare say mine, they probably watch mine, they've actually put a post out saying, "Do you realize the hair is magnetic and you can swap it over and stuff like that?"
I actually thought you were joking there, Peter, because I was expecting like step 1, take figure from box, step 2, end.
No. Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
No.
They're very complicated sometimes, Andy.
Oh yeah. If you pick up like an Iron Man figure, Christ, the instructions with that, so you're not snapping it off and moving it around. And
I ain't got time for that. I just want to
even the in-art Joker one has like a 30-40 page booklet about what you should and shouldn't do with them and stuff like
tweezers, fucking combs and shit.
Yeah.
So I just want a toy.
Exactly. Just want a doll, don't I? You know what I mean? So yeah, very cool. But I think Soso are doing some amazing work at the moment. I stuck this one at the end because I've not seen this before. And is this a character from Breaking Bad or something?
Mike Ehrmantraut, I believe.
Yeah.
So 2.0 this, so it's a re-release essentially, but updated head sculpt.
I just thought it looked pretty good. The head sculpt again was very, very cool.
It's great.
So,
yeah.
Again, not a one I would pick up. But
I wouldn't say Mike's like the most toyetic of characters. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think if you're going to get Breaking Bad figures, having them in their hazmat suits, stuff like that, maybe the Heisenberg with the hat and stuff. But I feel like you've really got to be committed to like a Breaking Bad line. Picking up
to do that figure.
I mean, there's a Gus coming out, and that's incredible as well.
Right.
So you pair with that well, wouldn't he?
Yeah, or if you've got a Soul, obviously Mike had, massive role in Soul. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. This came out earlier in the week, which was interesting. Ben, anything to say on this one?
I think James is going to be more qualified than me on this one, but yeah, like it, I think the most interesting element of this is the branding, is the fact that they've got the license for Star Wars Jedi Survivor to be on the box of this, and I think that's given a lot of people, James included, the hope that and the belief that Cal could well be coming. He's even got the video game logo next to the Hot Toys logo there as well, which is cool.
It just feels like
but
such a bizarre time.
This is literally it's just a scout trooper with a add-on
Aldrin and a baton,
yeah, like it's cheeky. It's a cheeky release.
I was sure in my very naive little brain that they'd put this out in advance of May the 4th as kind of a tease, and we're going to get a Cal on May the 4th.
That's what I had assumed, you know. Why
I would
reveal
even
that
go
this
as
is a
far-
line and not have a Cal? Like,
I would even go as far as to say that was a prominent YouTuber who kind of heavily said that that was going to be happening, but it didn't. So it's just very, very strange.
Me?
Very strange. Not you, but you're not a prominent YouTuber. No,
Fucking should be.
no, I thought it was very strange. Very strange.
I will probably, if they announce a Cal soon, I'll get this to go with them, like to have them fighting, because they're like one of the most common enemies in that first game, particularly. But they're in the second one as well.
Yeah, I do like that design. Andy, is this one for you?
If I pick up the Purge Trooper, I'd pick this up because I think they would go quite well
Yeah.
together.
Tune in 2 years' time where those details behind Andy are going to be full of troopers.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
empty via divorce.
I just wanted to mention this because it kind of tickled us. This was announced a while ago, and I remember, I think we did it on a show. I can't remember which show it was, but we talked about how good the head sculpt was and how for the prototype that looked absolutely superb. And then someone put their image of the received
Oh,
the received doll up. And one of the questions I asked was they weren't sure why her hair was blonde, not white. And I thought that's the least of your problems there, I guess.
yeah.
What's happened on the lips? The lipstick.
Yeah. I guess I just wanted to put up to say that sometimes these prototypes look absolutely friggin' stunning. Because I mean that looks like it's still from the movie to me.
I disagree. I thought that looks great, even in the promotional image. But yeah, it's
You
night
don't
and
think
day.
that looks great.
No,
Oh,
it doesn't look like Emma Stone to me. Like I can tell it's Cruella DeVille from Cruella, but like it looks, that sculpt looks off. But that looks like a Barbie doll.
So not a one you're going to pick up, James.
No, if she was in like that fire dress from the end, maybe.
Yeah.
The one that burns away. Yeah.
I mean, Ben, your daughter would like this, surely. There's a nice one for her.
I'm not buying my daughter a 1/6 scale figure for £150.
She's not worth it, no.
Is she fun? No, to be fair, no. I love my Disney and stuff. So I think when we first looked at this, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And you could go out and buy all of those, like at the early learning center and stuff, and at the toy shops, you get those like figures of animals. You could go out and buy a ton of like Dalmatian ones of those that would make for a really unique display. But yeah, not. So I mean, get her to a hospital because the stroke looks severe in this image. She needs help. Somebody help her.
Andy, I'm going to presume this is not a one for your collection.
I definitely feel as if I've met her before, maybe at uni, 2004, thereabouts. Listen, if any of you in this panel pick this up, consider yourselves unsubscribed. That's all I'm going to say. This is really bad.
Does Disney have any, like, other than Pirates of the Caribbean? Other than Pirates of the Caribbean, does Disney have any hot toy like I know obviously Star Wars and Marvel, but like outside of that, like Disney stuff?
There's a bell. There's a Beauty and the Beast Emma Stone bell, and her head is massive. But it is pretty. It's a pretty special figure. Trying to think of.
I can't think of any others.
Yeah, I don't know. No Tron, no princesses.
Tron, there is Tron Legacy. Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is the one I'm going to miss. We've kind of covered it already, but just in general, guys, what did you think of the May the 4th hot toy announcements? Were you satisfied, or what were you expecting?
Boo!
Boo!
Yes.
Fuck you, hot toys.
Yes, May the 4th be with you, hot toys.
No, it was. I mean, there was like one really I thought interesting announcement, but like it was pretty disappointing. I was looking forward to it, like seeing something I would want to get. And there just wasn't. There wasn't much of anything, so sort of a shame.
I mean, maybe I'm naive, but I just absolutely expected there to be something tied in with Return of the Jedi, with it being the anniversary and stuff. And we've got nothing, did we?
Also, I'd imagine there's not going to be another Star Wars figure announced for the next at least month, because they surely would have just done it on May the 4th if they were gonna, you know.
I guess so. Ben?
Really upset. Don't think I'll ever forgive them. It's not even like I know Andy joked about like Max Rebo and stuff. Like, it's not even necessarily about having figures that I want. It's like, I know that those two figures there are people that want them, but there's not loads of people that want them. And for me, if you're only going to do two figures on May the 4th, then make it figures that every single person wants. You know, make it a cow, make it a Chewie, make it a Han. Or you do 4 or 5 again, where you can have a couple of ones that are sort of more specific and more niche, and then some bangers. Play that numbers game, you know. But for me, it was just it really missed the mark, unfortunately. And I think even if the Ian McDermott head sculpt like blew me away, then I'd maybe be a little bit more forgiving. But I don't think it's a perfect head sculpt either. I think that's like, you know, we look at the Oscar Isaac head sculpt, and for me that's like on a similar level, and that's like third party. So it's not good enough.
Yeah. Andy, how about yourself?
You know, this is my second show, guys, and I'm a very much a noob on this, but I feel like collecting Hot Toys, and specifically the 1/6 scale, is a little bit like, you know, starting your own YouTube channel. You start it with lots of enthusiasm, a little bit of naivety, some would say, and then you end up like Ben. And you hate everything that gets released.
I wouldn't take that bet for you.
I'm looking forward to my journey and meeting you there at some point, man.
Okay. My channel is going to be taken down in the next few days, by the way, guys. Just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I think. I'm not a massive Star Wars Hot Toys collector, but I just expected a little bit more, I think.
Was there anything you were like, any years were like specifically hoping?
Do you know what?
Cal for me.
I absolutely thought Cal would come out. I really did.
Yeah.
And I was kind of expecting an Emperor. I don't know why, but I know that's a Grail figure, like Ben said earlier, for a lot of people. And I thought, tying to Return of the Jedi, we've had the Vader with the electric flashing helmet. Do you not want the Emperor to go side by side with that?
That's a very good point, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just kind of thought that's what we'd get, but no.
So why do you think they didn't? Then why didn't they meet expectations?
Because last year there were 5 figures announced on the day, and the year before there were 4 figures, and I think it was maybe 3 the year before that. So like, it's like, you know, for the last 3 years we've had a larger volume than just 2 figures.
Yeah.
And as I said, you know, I think the 2 figures just weren't, they were just appealing to a corner of the Star Wars fandom rather than, you know, your original trilogy stuff everyone wants it. You've got even, you know, the prequel fans want original trilogy stuff because the legacy of it all. Original trilogy, old farts, bloody, that's all they want, you know. So like, it appeals to everyone. So yeah, it's a shame. It is a shame.
It's interesting, isn't it? It is interesting.
But you know, the thing is, Hot Toys being Hot Toys, they could like just do a drop on like Sunday or something randomly for like Han and Chewie, you know, like
they do seem very random, don't they, with their announcements? It's not very coordinated. Okay, guys, thank you very much. That was really, really interesting. Andy, thank you very much for joining me for the toy section of the show. we're gonna be talking Guardians of the Galaxy now. And I know you haven't seen the film, Andy. So can I just say, on behalf of all, thank you for joining. It's been a pleasure. You're always welcome back. Don't think there's anything really to tempt you there that much this time, mind. Hand in the water at all.
Listen, I fully appreciate you inviting me back on for a second time. Hopefully you'll learn for the third time not to make that mistake. Guys, if you haven't already subscribed, please make sure you subscribe to everybody that is on the panel and give that thumbs up and all that good stuff. And guys, I will look forward to watching the review of Guardians of the Galaxy whenever I've seen it.
More importantly, you need to subscribe to the Killer Comics Show where Andy appears every Thursday night at 9 p.m. GMT.
Ben, you know what it's like. You can if you want. I mean,
I mean, I'm not there anymore, but still, get on it.
What's the
Thanks,
fingers?
guys.
I'm liking the finger actually. Let's wave Andy out with fingers. See ya, Andy.
See ya, baby.
Excuse me.
Turn that off for this portion of the show. Now we
Good,
can
Good.
focus.
We can focus.
Not about figures
Okay.
anymore.
So, Efren might join me, but we'll make a start. I'm not sure if he's going to or not. So basically, we're going to be talking now Guardians of the Galaxy. We've all seen it, obviously, and absolutely keen to kind of spill a little bit about it. So, what we're going to do before we get into it, just for anybody in the chat, if you haven't seen the movie, we're going to give you very quickly our overall thoughts without any spoilers. We're then going to jump into the proper review with spoilers, all right? So just overall thoughts for people who might not have seen it yet, but don't want the spoilers. And we'll start with you, Ben.
So, look, I do like to, I probably do it too much, but I don't, yeah, it was perfect. It was bloody perfect to me. Like I even after, a couple of days kind of sat on it, like I cannot fault this film. It wrapped up the story perfectly while still continuing people's kind of character arcs and journeys, throughout, right up until the end, scene. And that's no mean feat in an ensemble cast like this. The villain was absolutely, it was a mesmerizing performance. And in terms of kind of fan satisfaction, there's enough there in terms of kind of cameos, comic book references. James Gunn knows his shit, and like there was constant stuff there to kind of tick those boxes as well. Just fantastically acted. The CG was great. The action was superb. The comedy was just well balanced and just genuinely funny. Like sometimes you sat there in an MCU film and you might get a smirk or a kind of from the odd joke, but here it gave me genuine laughs. I cried 4 times during this film, some at obvious points where you're prompted to cry, but I actually cried a couple of times at how perfect it was. It was like a happy cry, because I was like, this is just everything I need a comic book movie to be. So am I a James Gunn shill? Fuck yeah, I am. And this film has just made that even worse. Absolutely loved it. And yeah, just a perfect end to a perfect trilogy.
Okay, good stuff. James, how about yourself?
I loved it. I thought it was really, every now and then we get an MCU movie that just, I think, stands just head and shoulders above anything else that they've done. I think Winter Soldier does that. I think Endgame did that. And I think this does as well. It was incredibly moving. I don't think there was a 20-minute chunk of this movie that I didn't cry during. And like Ben, some of it was just the happiness of like how good what I was looking at was, like how well written this is. I think every cast member delivers their best performance as these characters. It felt like it had a lot of weight to the story, but didn't lose sight. Like the tonal balance of like the heaviness with the comedy was just flawless. Not like a lot of these movies can be, where it kind of undercuts the other.
Yeah.
And phenomenal villain that I really hadn't much expectation of going into the movie, and just a like amazing performance. Just an evil bastard, which we haven't really had in a while. So I love that. And there was a lot of good surprises. Like it was hard to kind of tell what was. It was not predictable in any way. Like I didn't really know where it was going to go or what was going to happen to certain characters, and I was quite surprised throughout the movie. So yeah, I think this is easily top 5 MCU films. Like I absolutely adored it, and I can't wait to see it again. It is very heavy, like surprisingly heavy and surprisingly brutal at times. So I don't know if I'd recommend this for kids, which you are supposed to be a target audience, but like, yeah, for me, I mean, this is the perfect send off for these characters, and like simultaneously, it's an amazing finale for them, but also I'm sad that they're going, So yeah, amazing film.
So for me, absolutely agree with everything you've just said. I think this is top 3 MCU films, and I'm struggling to order my top 3. So my top 3 are probably Infinity War, Winter Soldier, and this now, and I'm not sure what order they're going in those 3. I thought all of the cast had superb moments, heartbreaking at times. You're right, James. I think there are some scenes that are very near the knuckle for younger kids. I thought the cast were just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. And as you know, I always go with my extended family. So there's me, my kids, my wife, my parents, and my daughter's partner. Every single person loved it. Every single person. Me dad, because my dad is very... Me dad, the bloody dog is a bit far-fetched. But apart from that, he thought everything else was great. Do you know what I mean?
Words with Mr.
Yeah,
Towns.
I mean, I thought it was stunning. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Welcome, Efren. Thank you very much for joining us, bud. We're just very quickly, before we move on to the full review, we're just giving a no spoilers overview of the movie in terms of what we thought of it. So what did you think?
First of all, what is going on, Guardians of the Galaxy Familia? I got to get that out of the way. So,
Bravo.
I saw this yesterday, and it was such a roller coaster of a movie for me. I was close to crying. I mean, I had to hold back the tears a couple of times. There were some emotional scenes. I thought it was a fitting
Let it go,
ending to this series.
Yeah, just let it happen.
Yeah, and one thing about this particular movie, The Guardians of the Galaxy, to me, they were a real family.
Yeah.
Compared to other movies like The Avengers, I didn't feel like they were really family. Like there was a close knit. Just the way they related to each other, arguing with your family, making jokes and stuff like that. That's what I really loved about this movie.
Yeah, good stuff, everyone. Good stuff. So I think it's fair to say we're all going to be gushing over the next few slides. So that's kind of the end of our spoiler-free bit. We are going to go and touch on some more of the spoilery side of things now. Yeah, I think. Oh, hey up.
Is that a Hot Toys?
Yeah, I don't have many of them, but I do have a few.
Oh,
is that a Hot Toy?
Efren,
I didn't know you had.
That's a sideshow.
Yeah, nice. That's a. Imagine he has like a bigger collection than all of us combined.
Look at Ben's face. It's equal rage and equal jealousy. I'm not quite sure.
Well,
he's got Rocket as well.
Yeah, it's the fact he thinks he doesn't even fucking know it's Hot Toys. He's saying it's Sideshow. You've got Hot Toys, man. They're 2 Hot Toys figures.
Are those figures or are the statues?
They're figures. I can tell exact. They are the Hot Toys bloody Rocket and Groot, the one that I was saying I wanted earlier.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I'll send you my address.
Oh, Efren, I do love you. Marvelous. Okay, guys. So, as I said, spoilers. We're going to delve into this movie a little bit in terms of the characters. We've had some incredible performances from the characters. I think every one of them, as James kind of said earlier, has their moment to shine, which is stunning. A lot of the characters, like Mantis, Nebula, and things like that, absolutely broke my heart. And I loved some of the scenes with them. I struggled to think of a standout character because they all stood out, if that makes sense. Yeah. Every single one of them, I think, was brilliant. Ben, we'll come to you first. Is there any of these that you kind of think stole the show for you, or any scenes from any of them in particular that jump out?
I mean, you know how I feel about Kraglin and Cosmo, and Cosmo from the comics is one of my favorite characters in the comics, and it was joy enough just seeing her kind of cameo in the collector's place in the first film. I was kind of like that was fine. But to have her fully fledged, and obviously they've kind of altered the character slightly and stuff, but like the spirit is still there, the spirit of a character that is protective but still kind of has those like dog-like kind of traits, and there's humor with that. The fact they got the telekinesis thing and they just don't shy from that, they just go for it. It just, my heart was just skipping a beat every time Cosmo kind of came on screen, and then to kind of pair her up with my other favorite character, Kraglin, and for those two to kind of serve as a double act throughout the film. And whilst they're not necessarily part of the core team, I feel like they got, they obviously had that very specific moment to shine where Kraglin finally kind of worked out how to use his arrow, thanks to the cameo from Yondu, and Cosmo's kind of doing her thing as well. Just ecstasy in that moment. I think in terms of the rest of the cast, like everyone is good. Like no one. The one thing I would say is I feel like out of all like groups, not got as much to him as he.
Yeah.
So like the first one, Groot's obviously got that pinnacle moment at the end where he sacrifices himself, and the relationship is very much there with him and Rocket. In the second one, he's baby Groot, for a lot of it. So it's like there's lots of comedy with that and stuff. When he's a teenager, he's a teenager, in Infinity War and things. But like it was just a young adult Groot, So you got some kind of cool stuff, but I don't feel like the character was as interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like Star-Lord, obviously had some great moments, and the way he was kind of navigating getting his head around what had happened with Gamora and stuff like that was all really well played out. But again, I think out of all of the characters, I think those two probably had the least going on for me personally. Drax, my heart kind of broke in the best way possible when he was making all the kids laugh, and and just the way that Mantis sort of describes him as, he's the only one that doesn't hate himself out of us, and he makes me laugh and makes me happy, and it was just it was just some beautiful kind of back and forths there. I think Mantis was really, really strong, but Nebula is my MVP of this film. Like, I think I relate to her on quite an uncomfortable level because I can be a bit of a prick, and I love very specific people. It may just be the 3 people on this screen and Andy, so it's like I really get that. And the moment,
I know we messaged Ben, didn't we? Because and you guys, I'm sure, will come to it. There's one scene in particular where she's been, as you described, the hard kind of person all the way through. There's that one scene where Rocket's voice is heard through the radio and she loses her cool, and Mantis just looks at her and smiles. That broke my heart because I just thought that was just such a beautiful, well played scene. It was just stunning writing and beautiful performances. I thought it was amazing.
That's what I was going to say. Rocket. In terms of origin stories, like I just think that I struggle to kind of pit this against any other origin story we've ever seen in a film. Like the way they kind of spread it out and the payoff, with the moment you can almost pinpoint the moment he turns from what he was into the Rocket that we know, which is a very angry little man. Like, and it was heartbreaking, but in the best way possible. So yeah, that's me anyway.
And I think for me that cut, and James might touch on it, that comes back to some of the bits that I think are quite uncomfortable for kids to see, and that animal exploitation is quite graphic at times. I was quite disturbed and very upset by knowing that actually that not the size, but that goes on.
Really happens.
Do you know what I mean? In a lot of industries, and I thought that was really. It felt like a film that had a very strong message, but without kind of not rubbing it in your face. But do you know what I mean? I felt like I took away a lot from that movie. James, how about yourself?
I'm trying to think what Ben hasn't already said. Star-Lord, I really thought... Pick one. Pick all of them. I was really surprised at how heavy they went with Star-Lord in this, like that in the opening. The opening as well, the last 2 movies have been like these kind of fun, upbeat moments, and this starts with Creep and it's Rocket like slowly walking through the thing. So already the vibe in this one is a bit heavier. But like the fact that he was like obviously has sunk into like a serious depression, and it's not played for a laugh at all. Like when he's clearly like got a drinking problem and like he passes out, and is it Nebula's carrying him, and they're all just kind of looking at each other. And I don't know if any of you have ever had like a friend who has that kind of an issue. That felt very relatable.
I was that friend who had the issue at uni and stuff. So yeah.
So like that I thought that was very well handled, like surprisingly so. You know, we've seen like in Iron Man 2, they touch on like the demon in a bottle thing, but it's kind of just for comic relief, and they don't really go too far into it. So that was really surprising, and I thought a good addition. But like Rocket's storyline in this, just like every scene, every flashback with like Lila and the other animals, like I was just crying at. And yes, it was just heartbreaking. I think if you go back and watch the other movies now with that context, it makes it even some parts when he's called a rodent will kind of hit a bit harder. But I think every character, their arc really is well like finished. Like I think with Star-Lord with the going back to Earth, because that's a thing that we've kind of thought about. Why hasn't he ever gone back? So the fact that they address it, and Rocket's kind of acceptance of who he is and everything. So Mantis was fantastic as always. I never really cared for her prior to the holiday special, but highlighted the movie, some of the funniest jokes. And then Gamora, I thought was like I like that they didn't just have her and Peter get back together again. Like they kind of
that was the easy fix, wasn't it? That's kind of what I expected.
Yeah, and I like that they didn't do that. I felt like that was the more appropriate.
Because she's not the same Gamora. Like,
exactly.
She'll forever be a different Gamora now.
And Peter accepting that, and I did love that analogy of like the jumping from, you've jumped from lily pad to lily pad. You need to learn to swim. I thought that was a beautiful, thing as well. So I mean, every character is incredibly handled. Like has their best material in this movie. Like it's quite impressive with a cast this size to be able to do that. I would agree that Groot has less to do as a character, I guess, but like that design, I wasn't a fan of it, but it's so versatile. The way they use it in the movie was like some really shocking stuff, like when he gets really big on the counter and hiding the guns and everything. So I loved this as well. So I mean, like just flawless. Like I've never seen this large of a cast handled this well. Usually somebody's left kind of dangling, but here it's
very
excellent.
Cool. And I think for me, you mentioned Groot hasn't got as many big scenes there. Now I would argue maybe Star-Lord as well. They shone in the first two movies. I kind of feel like this was the, dare I say it, the second tier characters movie more than theirs. It was your Mantis and your Nebula's movie, Drax to
it's Rocket's film, isn't it?
Yeah, without doubt it's Rocket's film. But I think Mantis and Nebula in particular for me just shone. Just before we come to you, Efren, just want to say hi to Fuzzy. Thank you very much for joining, Fuzzy, mate. I hope you are well. And Darren's saying there, one massive plus was the trailer gave nothing away. Absolutely, Darren. I'm going to touch on that in a slide later on because I think the trailer did more than that. I think the trailer kind of, and some of the press around this tricked her in many ways. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Efren, anybody in particular jump out at you?
My first choice is Mantis, because the way this character has evolved, especially from when she first showed up on Guardians of the Galaxy, she was so meek and quiet, almost timid, like mouse-like. And I could actually see her as a leader. I mean, she spoke up when needed. So I mean, I really like the way her character has evolved in this movie and also in the Christmas special that they did. I think it was a continuation of that. And I liked Kraglin. Also, I just liked his character. I thought he was like almost like a comedy, a little bit of a comedy relief. And Ben mentioned this when Yondu showed up. I went, oh my God, that really got to me. That one little part that he had in the movie, that really, I guess that's when I started getting teary-eyed. I went, dang it. So I had to put in a dang it in there. Those were my two favorite characters. I mean, I loved everybody in this movie. Even Howard the Duck when he showed up.
I've always felt like Kraglin overstayed his welcome prior to this movie a bit. I just didn't really care for him because he's only in this movie because he's the director's brother, and but I think he's really well used in this. I still don't know if he should be on the team, like a core member in the next one. But Peter, I enjoyed him in this. Yeah, it's really why does he have a poster?
Beg your pardon,
guys. I'll be right back. I got
sure.
Right back.
See, you've upset Efren now. Are you pleased with yourself?
It's just Efren's hot toy dealer giving him some more figures,
Yeah,
probably.
there
Man.
you go,
That's what that is. How can he not know? How long have we been talking hot toys and he's never let on that he's got hot toys?
That's
Never mind.
hilarious. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying about Kraglin to a point, but I have to say I absolutely loved the bit where the guys are attacking nowhere and he whistles for the first time and the arrow just kind of drops off or misses the guy.
That's me. Yeah, one of those
That's so
idiots.
Yeah, superb. Yeah, so yeah, I'm going to say something. Non-PC here, and I don't know why, but Nebula really does it for me, mind. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the stern
the
look
fact
and
that she's played by Karen Gillan, who's like a goddess.
No,
That's why.
but it's the. I love the aesthetic of the face and the I just think she's stunning.
Because she has red hair in real life, right, Peter?
That's probably what it is.
Hello,
That's
Ginger,
probably what it is.
yeah.
But yeah,
It's
Ian
not
Carter's-
PC. I fucking love a shaven head.
yeah,
I think it's a true, like, genuinely.
Black eyes,
Maybe this
yeah.
is becoming a different kind of stream, but like, genuinely, I think it's a true. And I'm not just saying this because I'm bald, but it's a true sign of beauty if someone can pull off a bald head.
Well, Twi'leks are sort of bald, aren't
but
they?
yeah. But as we know, not everyone can pull off a bald head, Ben. It's nice to see Ian. He's just out of Guardians, and he says he loved it. Nice to see you, bud.
It's funny how like anyone I know personally that's seen this loved it, but the like critical. I don't know if we're going to talk about this maybe later, but the
I haven't
critical
got a slide
scores.
in it actually because I just couldn't bear to look at it.
It's like its average is 65 or something. Like it's not
What are they?
critically done amazing. Like it's crazy. It's just such a big divide.
I'll tell you what I honestly believe, that I've been depressed going into Marvel movies for a while. And I don't know why, but none of them have really floated my boat. Even ones that I should have loved, I've come out kind of thinking that was just meh, you know?
Yeah.
Even going to the cinema when me and Ben went to see, what do you call it? Quantumania. The fact that I was with Ben should have been an additional boost to my enjoyment of and even that was just the film didn't out for us. Whereas this, I genuinely came out and thought, you know what, this was back to Marvel, peak Marvel enjoyment. This is where it should have been for the last couple of years or whatever, and I've just missed it, you know.
I hope, as a side note, that this is a good thing for DC comic books, that James Gunn is in charge.
I certainly feel more confident now.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because I love most of his movies, but this one really, I came out of this feeling, okay, I'm more optimistic now overall about his role in DC.
Yeah, fuzzy nose.
Yeah. Groove looking a bit tougher than he was pumped, wasn't he? He was bulked out. I wanted to talk about SFX because this is.
Thank you.
I forgot about that, but that was great.
Let's get to the film.
Because this is this has been one of my criticisms of the Disney Plus shows and the Marvel movies for a long time, that the special effects just look cack. The CGI looks naff. Quantumania was shocking. Practical effects don't look good. I can't think of anything I didn't fully invest in or believe or think looked great in this show.
Yeah.
Even that, like I say, the practical effects were spot on. The sign, the colors jumped. The space scenes, like that bit there where they jump into the spaceship thing, it just looked beautiful.
That was
It
just
didn't
a love
look.
note to Space Odyssey, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely,
Colours
yeah.
and that.
I loved every special effect. Now, I've put these characters on because they're a mix of special effects and practical effects and all the rest of it. But I did want to pay attention to those guys on the side there because they were some great characters as well and had a pretty sad and upsetting end.
Well, the bit that hit me, because I think, in the trailer it made out that potentially Rocket would be rescuing her, like that. I didn't think that they were going to die, or at least Lila wouldn't. The bit where she gets shot and Rocket's just screaming, like that hit me the hardest than anything else. Like anything in a movie, I think, in a very long time. Like that was just.
But then
so
the
hard.
villain's reaction, like,
He mocks
high
him, like, he
evolutionaries,
screams back,
reaction to it, and then like you literally, it's almost like his voice, Rocket's voice, transforms into the Rocket voice that we know, which is always angry. Like everything Rocket says, it always comes from a place of like, hey, and you almost hear it morph into that version. Oh, so good. You know, I've been moaning about Disney, right? And
Yeah,
like animals that don't emote. Here's proof that you can have an animal that is a real animal but still emotes. Like, and I don't know what, I can't tell you how or what the secret is, but I mean, fuck me, the rabbit, Flaws, bless her, you can't even see her face, and yet I still felt that character and felt like I knew what she was about and everything like that. Like, Teef's my favorite though.
yeah.
I'm going to call myself Teefs
because I have the biggest teeth.
Mine's the biggest. So good. I mean, I remember watching that clip a couple of days before I went to see the film, and I think it's the first time I've watched a clip, you know, or a trailer or something, and actually cried just at the clip. Like, I cried before I even got to the bloody cinema. That's never happened.
Just before I forget that, I love the gag as well. This is probably the funniest bit for me when they're in the jumpsuits and Star-Lord is telling Gamora, like, he's like having an heart-to-heart with her. Just like, you know, we can all hear you. Green is yellow, yellow's red, red is blue.
See, I love that scene in terms of the fact that everybody else is looking quite graceful, and then Mantis is just kind of bouncing all over, and she's like,
Mantis falls on her neck about 5 times in this film. It's fucking hilarious every time.
Yeah. So I guess all you guys are agreeing that the special effects, both practical and were pretty flawless.
Hot Toys Teefs.
Why do you think that is though? Like, why this movie that has just heads and shoulders better? Like surely Quantumania would have been dealt with
I honestly think it's down to the director. I think James Gunn wouldn't
accept
put out shit.
Less than perfect.
Yeah, if it wasn't ready, he wouldn't put it out. I think you need that weight and strength behind you as the director to have the final yes or no on and I don't know. I'm guessing that's how it works in cinema. I don't know, but that's the only thing I can think of. Because it was flawless.
We'll never know. Yeah. We'll never know.
Ephraim, were you impressed with the special effects?
Yes, I thought it was well done. I mean, the minute I seen Rocket and his compatriots, I cared about them immediately. Yeah. When I was like, oh my God, you know, they've been, you know, he's done experiments on these animals. And I really enjoyed this. I didn't enjoy it, but I thought it was very well done, the special effects, you know, in this movie. You know, I did think James Gunn was saying, hey, this is my last movie, and probably told Disney, let's do this right. You know?
Also, I think, you know, potentially some of the other directors may be more like yes men than he is. He's like, I'm about to be CEO of the competition.
Yeah.
You know, he can just say, I think he's in a better position to say no or insist on things than some of the others are.
Yeah. He was probably pissed off a little bit too, because remember, Disney fired his ass. You know, you know. But
I mean, the whole cast was. I remember. I was like thinking about this earlier, that they all came out and supported him immediately.
We nearly didn't get this, did we? Really, because
I think
a lot of
them would have been Taika Waititi or Peyton Reed or something like that.
Oh no, but even like Batista said that even though he was contracted, he wouldn't do a third one.
Yeah,
unless Gunn came back. I think most of them, I think they all said it actually. Yeah, that they're not doing it unless they had to.
Interesting, but I'm very impressed with the special effects. I thought the colors superb. It sounds
also as well, just a beautiful return to practical effects as well, and the balance was just it was perfectly balanced. You know, with the half-world, half-world, what are they called?
Counter
Earth. That's one. Where's Half-World? Similar. That's I don't know. But yeah, all the characters there, like with the physical, you know, headpieces on and stuff like that, looks so good.
You're absolutely right, Ben. But when you've just mentioned it, that's just kind of jumped in my head as well about how hard this film is as well, because we're talking genocide there. They literally wiped out a planet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? All of those people were so living in the little houses, and because I loved that interaction between the kind of the husband and the wife, and it was just so perfect, you know. All
face when they're like, we're gonna need the car.
Do you guys know if this film was rated PG or was it G?
PG-13.
PG
here in the UK.
Yeah, amazing. Couple of new additions. I'm going to jump in here first before we'll come to you guys. So my first, it's not a negative, so don't jump on us. It's not a negative, but what I would say is someone who's read comics for a long time, neither of these characters were very familiar in terms of the comic book versions I've read, but I don't think that's an issue. So Adam Warlock wasn't like any Adam Warlock I've read, and High Evolutionary was more kin, but I would still see he's quite a different character. But that would normally bother us, but it didn't bother us at all in this. I thought Warlock was brilliant. I loved his portrayal. I thought his level of humor was just spot on. I really enjoyed his portrayal, which I wasn't expecting as much. The High Evolutionary, and I apologize, I don't know the actor's name, was
Chukwudi Iwuji.
Oh, he was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely believed him as a nutcase kind of maniacal villain. I loved everything about him. I thought he was superb. I tell you what I did think, and again, if there's a way of doing it, I don't know. But what I did think was, if we're losing our Kang actor, this is the guy I want to take over.
I thought that too. I thought
think he would do an incredible
he would nail
job.
that. He'd nail that role. Yeah, actually, that crossed my mind too. Yeah.
And when they remove his face at the end, that was proper kind of. I wasn't expecting.
I when he claws him earlier, I had it clicked to my head. Oh, he's probably covering like a few scratches, or he's healed himself or something.
I thought that was this stuff. I thought that was the.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be as hardcore. Like that was one of the most grotesque pieces of imagery I've seen in a movie. Like that was. Yeah, I couldn't believe. Like, imagine a 5-year-old sitting and seeing that. Like, they're gonna be horrified. Which I love. Yeah, it was a great shock. Like I thought, and just a nice kind of cap.
Yeah, I'm all in for both of these characters. I thought they were stunning. I loved them. Ephraim, we'll start with you. What did you think about these guys?
Like Ben said, I looked up the actor's name. His name is Chukwudi Iwuji, and he was in James Gunn Peacemaker too.
Yeah. He was wasn't he in? Spoilers, wasn't he an alien in that?
Yeah, he had one of the butterflies.
I loved his character, but this was a villain that I really disliked. You know, other like Kang the Conqueror, I just went, it wasn't like I really didn't, he was the villain, but this was a villain who was just sociopath. And I like when they had close-ups of him and Star-Lord, when they were yelling and screaming, you could see spittle coming out of their mouth. To me, that was, that's good acting, though. I mean, he was pissed. He was crazy. I love this character, And for Adam Warlock, at the beginning, I didn't like him because he seemed just too comical. But as the movie progressed, and especially at the end, I really enjoyed the character. These were two really good additions to this movie.
Good stuff. James, we'll come to you next.
Stand-up performance of the movie, I felt High Evolutionary. It's funny how we for a long time got just bastard villains, like just pure evil, and that became cliched, and we moved into sympathetic villains, and so this was we've gone back to he's just an evil bastard, and I actually liked that. I thought that was a refreshing, and he's not mustache twirling. He's just really obsessively passionate about this one thing, and it's horrific. And it's just what you see him do is just he feels like one of the most evil characters I've ever seen, and it was just amazing to watch. Just a phenomenal performance, and the surprise of the movie for me. I absolutely loved him. Adam Warlock, I like this take on the character because he is very kind of almost a bit Thor-esque, he's not quite down to earth or relatable in any way. And I did like the whole he's like a child almost, mom. Does he say mommy? Does say mommy, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I like that aspect of him. I felt the first shot of him was a little you could have teased that out a little bit more, because it's literally just cuts and he's flying through space. I felt that was a bit jarring.
Expect it to be that quick, really.
Yeah, or even just have a bit more ceremony to his arrival.
Did that not subvert the moment though?
I guess then, yeah.
You weren't expecting it. It was attack that kind of got a lot more serious than you thought it was maybe going to get.
Yeah, right at the start of the movie as well. So his role in the film is great. I think he could have maybe, because there's a lot going on in this movie, he's a little bit underused considering he was the post-credits tease of the last one. And he really only comes in like he doesn't like join the final fight. Really, he just comes in and saves Star-Lord at the end. But I'm excited to see more of this character. I think it's great casting. I love Will Poulter, so I think he was great in this role, and I enjoyed him. Looking forward to seeing more.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but his stone in the middle of it, I think that's an Infinity Stone in the comic book.
In the comics, it's a Soul Stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Soul Stone. I think Darren's got a good point. He established quickly that he wasn't the big deal. I think that's exactly it, Darren. I think we saw him a lot in like the cover art and in the trailers and things like that. And this really got it like straight away. He's not the focus of the movie. The focus of the movie is the family dynamic and the rest of it.
Another great gag. Show him we mean business. And he just like lasers. What was I supposed to do?
Ben, what did you think of these guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's really quite astounding when you look at Chuck Woody and how little he's actually done in terms of the kind of film industry and things. Like, so he kind of elevated pretty quickly from like Royal Shakespeare Company and stuff, and like Hollywood, keep fucking casting stage performers because this is what you get. This is the level of quality. Every single line, there was no line that was delivered in a simple way. Like he'd always choose an interesting, and this is exactly what Jonathan Majors does as Kang as well. He always chooses an interesting rhythm or in inflection in the way that he kind of says the line, and it's just mesmerizing. And he was absolutely right. He was just an out and out bastard, and that was just he's awful, and as Efren says, you don't like him, but it's great to he's the perfect bad guy because you don't like him. There's nothing to relate to. He's just bad for the sake of bad. Therefore you want your heroes to prevail, and it was definitely one of the best MCU villains we've had. He's up there. I think Will Poulter's that.
Ben, sorry, I'll just interrupt. I'd say it's probably what I'm trying to think now of villain performances in the MCU.
There's a lot of good ones, though.
Thanos.
Thanos
I think
is incredible.
I think this is a show for to come back to and count down the favorite MCU villains or something.
Sounds like a top 3, doesn't it?
But yeah, Will Poulter's Adam Warlock. Like for me, and this is probably going to upset Peter. Adam Warlock is not an interesting character in the comics.
No, I agree. I don't like Adam. He's, and this is what I mean. In the comics, Adam Warlock is dull as ditchwater. He's super good, super nice. He's not a.
But then I will say something that will upset you. Much like Thor, he's just very. In the comics, it's very like verily, and and it's just kind of so. I love
James. I agree about the Kraglin stuff. He was shit. Right.
And James Gunn does this with multiple characters, like across the Suicide Squad. He kind of recontextualizes them, keeps a lot of the essence, keeps the look or whatever, but kind of gives them this new element that's like exciting or funny or interesting in some way. And the idea to have him as this man baby was. And Will Poulter's such a competent kind of comedy actor that it was just like it. I wasn't expecting it. Like, if anything, out of this whole film in terms of promotional and material and stuff, Adam Warlock was the one I was not excited about seeing. I didn't like the costume. I was very nervous at like Will Poulter playing a serious character. I was just like, oh. But like, so to have the comedy element and stuff, I just thought it was fantastic. So yeah. Some great adversaries in this.
I absolutely agree, Ben. I absolutely agree. I thought they were great. Ian's just made us smile because I completely forgot about this scene and I loved it. When they were escaping.
Like James Gunn always does jokes like that, where like that's what would happen in that situation, right?
Exactly.
Like, so my favorite fucking joke of the whole Peacemaker series is in that it's that final like barn scene where they're going to storm the barn, and Economos trips and breaks his leg. Like it's like such a realistic thing to have happened. Like, and it always it tickles me. Yeah. One thing though, guys, did you notice he said that he'd visited Earth?
Who did?
High Evolutionary.
Yeah.
Place the seeds for mutants, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. What did you think of the F-bomb?
That's great. It's hilarious.
I thought I love that it was just out of frustration. Obviously, it was Chris Pratt. Just
You know
like,
what's going to happen, right? The moral
Captain.
fucking do-gooders at the top and at the bottom are going to disagree with us on this, James.
I thought it was pointless. It didn't. You didn't need it. It was.
No, but I think it hammered that because that's how you swear in real life, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's out of frustration at someone not listening to what you're
What
saying.
do-gooders? How dare you? How dare you? Moving on. We've talked about this already. The emotion. I wasn't expecting. No, I was. I was expecting to get upset with this film for a different reason, and we're going to touch on that later on. I wasn't expecting to get upset with it because of just the kind of the characters' stories and pain and how beautiful it was at times. Ben, we'll start with you this time. The emotional impact on this for you.
Oh gosh, I don't even know where to start. I mean, like, not to get too deep, but I'm someone who I don't feel happy a lot. It's my life, it's my head, and that's an emotion I struggle to kind of feel. And for me, like, true art in like comic books and movies and stuff is when it completely removes me from everything and it gives me like a feeling of kind of happiness or joy or whatever. Like, that is incredible. That's something that I can only ever replicate in like my daughter or my wife, and this film made me feel that. Maybe I think there was probably 2 or 3 times, like the hallway fight, in a tragic way, the moment where Rocket kind of did scratch the face and things like that. Just like, there were moments where I was emotional at how perfect the storytelling was and how immersed I was and everything like that. So it was a really kind of moving experience, because I kind of, on a surface level, obviously the sad bits are sad, right? But I felt moments of pure elation, and like, just as a fan, just pure kind of just like, you're giving me everything that I could have ever dreamed of when I was reading that Guardians comic back in 2010 or whenever it came out. Like, you took me there, and that's such a beautiful thing when it is done. And the MCU has done it a lot more. It's got a very good track record of doing that. Recently, as Peter said, we've had some letdowns. So I think a lot of the emotion was also coming from like a place of relief, because you were like, yes, this is what it's about. So yeah, it was a really emotional experience. But like, obviously very kind of the tragic backstory of Rocket is one of the most tragic we've ever seen. But also just pure, elation, good vibes. Good times.
Good stuff. Thank you, Ben. That was really good. James, in relation to the emotion attached to Gamora and Peter, how do you think they played that story out?
Well, I like it. I like that they didn't do the obvious thing. And I had suspected that it would go this way, that like they wouldn't rekindle, because she's a different character. She's a different person. And she keeps trying to tell him that, and he sort of won't accept it, and eventually comes to a place where he does. So I thought that was brilliantly handled.
I thought it felt, to coin a phrase, it felt realistic. It didn't feel movie or TV cliche. It felt
anything else would have had them get back together. Like,
that's a real relationship,
Yeah.
And what
and
about the emotion in general?
To the fact that she died as well, like it makes that death a death, and not just like, oh, here she's back. Overall, though, like I said, there's not a 20-minute chunk of this movie I didn't cry, and for various different reasons. Like the Rocket stuff is some of the most heartbreaking things I've seen on camera, like on a screen. I probably got most emotional at the end, the Florence and the Machine's Dog Days playing, and Groot dancing and Rocket dancing, and just where they've kind of left it, and you kind of reflect back on this journey that these characters have gone on, and it's the goodbye. And I'm actually tearing up a little thinking about it now. Like, it hit me that hard. So I thought that was like just one of the most beautiful endings to something I've ever seen. So like, I mean, that was, and just I think the use of music throughout the movie in the emotional moments was flawless. So
Ben, you're about to explore.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Darren in the chat, the Poptimus UK, who said one of the most beautiful fucking things I think I've ever heard about this film. So the end bit, Florence is playing, blah, 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 and then Groot obviously comes out with, I love you guys.
Yeah.
Darren's like, the way I interpreted that was that we've been on the journey so long with Groot that we just understand him now as the viewer.
I prefer that. I like that interpretation more.
Gosh, I mean, Darren, we were just messaging. You sent me for about 5 minutes after that.
Because otherwise, it's a bit stupid. It's like, oh, he could speak English this whole time, whereas that makes more sense that we're like one of the team. Yeah, I prefer that definitely.
So that's really interesting. I didn't get that, but
I didn't get that first time, but now I will forever just read it like that. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Efren, how about yourself?
The emotions of this movie. There were so many scenes, but two that stick in my head right now is when they recovered the apparatus and they were looking and they were surrounding Groot and they showed the hologram of him being like, operated on.
Yeah.
That really got to me. I went, oh my God.
And when Nebula says this is worse than what Thanos did to me, that was like, oh shit. Yeah.
And another scene that was emotional to me was a quick scene. I think Ben mentioned it earlier when Rocket first escaped and they have a close up of his face and he looks young and, but then that scene only lasted like about less than 10 seconds, but they show his face getting hardened. Becoming the character that it was that we've seen in the movie. Those two emotions really got to me. But overall, the whole movie was just emotional, just well done.
Absolutely. And again, I'm going to go back to the special effects there. Just looking at that image we've got on screen, it's flawless. I mean, it's absolutely, stunning. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. What a lot of people go to see these movies for isn't the emotion and stuff. It's the battles and the fights and all that kind of jazz. And I think this film had it in spades. There's a scene in particular which was incredible in the hallway at the end. We'll start with you first this time, James. What did you think of the battle scenes in this?
Amazing. Like that hallway fight, the one take thing, and there's cuts of it in the trailer, might be one of the best choreographed fights I've ever seen. And I would put that up with like Cap and Winter Soldier fighting on the bridge like that. That's how well done it was. And like I was just in awe of that, like 90-second, probably 2-minute, cut through, and like everybody gets their like moment in there. So that was amazing. And I just it's just so well directed, like top notch. Really, I don't have there's no sticking point to me. Anything that I was like, oh, that could have been better. Yeah. Mantis, like jumping from person to person, like you start barking or you do this. Yeah. You start dancing. Yeah, that was great as well. So
incredible. Ben, were there any that stood out for you?
I mean, obviously the obvious one is the hallway scene, and I've alluded to it there. It was just such a unbelievable, one of the best MCU moments. I'm trying to think. I mean, the actions spread out so evenly throughout the film that like you get to a point where you almost take it for granted. But I think inside the living spaceship or whatever thing, that was fun as well visually to see the Nathan Fillion's guards kind of floating around and stuff like that. Just spectacular from start to finish with the action.
And the brutality of it, like that opening Adam Warlock one.
Oh yeah,
because there was like when he was like punching Nebula or whatever, like the moment was sold by someone in the background going, "Stop it!" Like no, and I was just like, the tone completely changed in that moment, like.
Or like he punches Rocket and basically caves his chest in. Like that's how that's how brutal they get.
And I thought Drax was killed by Nathan Fillion's.
Yeah, so did I.
So did I.
There's a scene as well where Nebula's neck snapped and it's kind of hanging behind.
That happens a few times. She like gets her jaw dislocated and stuff, and she just like spurts back in. Like.
Fucking Nebula, MVP of this film. I'm telling you,
loved it. Efren, were you a fan of the fighting scenes, the action scenes?
I was a fan, but really quick, I would like to see Nebula's origin too. I mean, but what Thanos did to her, she said it wasn't as bad what happened to Rocket, but I don't think there's only her brain is probably the only thing that's left that's human like. Everything else is just mechanical. you know. But I love the fight scenes. I've talked about Mantis in the past, but I like the way she stepped forward and she had fighting skills. Not a meek little character like in the second movie, you know, like her hands were always like this, you know, like in the background. I just liked her fighting scenes, but everybody else also, you know, it was just a really good scene. It reminded me a little bit, I don't know why, that one scene when they were in that, you know, hallway. It reminded me a little bit of that Daredevil scene when he's in the hallway.
It's a one take.
Old boy.
One take, yes.
Cuts. Yeah.
I'm just sorry, quickly checking to see if I'm right here, because I'm just looking at that image and it's just kind of occurred to us the stuff we're saying about everybody getting the moment to shine and stuff like that. Any kind of promo images of big teams and things like that, or you know, the fight scenes, you have your star of the show in the center, so that's where your eyes roll, and then the rest of the team are to the side. It's interesting that in this kind of iconic scene here, Star-Lord's off to the side, and it's
Rocket,
it's Rocket, or it's Gamora actually, but do you know what I mean? It's Rocket. I just think that's really interesting that they've kind of purposefully made it that Chris Pratt, this isn't his movie, I don't think. This is he's along for the ride. Do you know what I mean? But
it's like the Suicide Squad, you know, obviously James Gunn's other masterpiece. You'd think Harley Quinn would be the star of that show, but she's not. It's a perfectly balanced story and sequences and stuff like that. And this is another kind of, you know, in the same vein, I think.
I think these actors put their egos aside for this movie. You know, nobody had to be front and center the whole time.
Shout out to Blurp as well, the little.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. What's his name?
Blurp.
Maybe he pisses himself.
Yeah.
He just pisses himself.
We've all been there, James. We've all been there. I thought we had some cracking kind of cameos in this. Obviously, we had Howard the Duck there, and then Nathan. I loved Nathan Fillion. We had Sylvester as Starhawk. Sorry, yes, Starhawk.
Yeah.
Martin X there. Can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who played Lex.
Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah, Rosenbaum.
Wow.
He does the Flash's voice in.
Tara Strong is one of the voice of one of the characters as well.
She's the head, you know, the
head.
Ravager head. Yeah, it used to be Miley Cyrus, but they recast.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So again, some great cameos. As soon as I saw Howard the Duck, I knew Ben would be ecstatic. But also in that scene, we had the guy from Guardians 1, didn't we? The kind of the guy who was the selling the
the guy,
the dealer.
The dealer. I just thought these were great. I really enjoyed them. Stallone was Stallone, you know. Interested to see, because a lot of those characters, Starhawk, Martin X, and all the rest of it, are from the original Guardians run. So it would be interesting to see if they do anything with those characters. Was there anybody that jumped out to you guys, or were you happy with the ones we got?
I thought that Nathan Fillion was supposed to be Wonder Man. They mentioned that before, years behind.
He was supposed to be in Guardians 2, wasn't he? He was going to be in a poster or something.
I think you can see him in a poster in the background, like really far in the back.
Yeah. I thought he was tremendous in this.
It's the guy. There's a Disney Plus series now. It's going to be the guy that played Black Manta playing him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Darren's just saying he enjoyed the mechanical hybrid henchman as well. Yeah. So,
War Pig. That was great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I like the fact that Warlock was walking around with his head for a while, just kind of carrying it about.
Yeah. Somebody noteworthy voices her, and then Ratcatcher, the actor Daniela Melker was
she was the
girl
Ura.
in the
Ura.
That was another great gag.
No, it's Ura.
The way like Gamora just takes the most violent route, like with everything, like I'll blow her goddamn head off. You know, like.
Guys, I think we're rushing over Howard the Duck far too quickly here, to be honest.
Okay.
You know, I think we need to. Personally, I'm quite annoyed that Peter's even shared the slide with other individuals. It should have been a Howard the Duck only slide.
Pure Howard the Duck. Yeah.
What was his line again?
I don't fucking know. I was just, I was high, mate. I was high on life. But of course, it was Seth's voice again, and they've done this beautiful re-render on him as well. So, like, he looks even more fucking comic book accurate now.
He looks good, mate. Yeah.
Disney Plus, goddamn, make that Howard the Duck special, okay? Just
it's
a 15-minute
baffling. because he's obviously like interacting with them. He's friends with them, like from the fact that he's like with the Ravagers in Endgame and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, why have we just not seen that side
Have
of
him come down to
the story?
Earth, run for mayor, like just make that happen, or a little team up with Jessica Jones or something. Like, yeah, no, I obviously that was one of the key things I was going into this film. I was like, there better be Howard, and I was not let down. So yeah,
Very cool. I would have liked to have seen
more
the
Howard.
Collector at that table
All right.
as well, because I loved the portrayal of the Collector in
He's alive because they bought Nowhere
Yeah.
off of him, isn't it? Yeah, that's a good point actually.
Very cool. I love the cameos. They were fantastic. Now, this is the kind of the thing I was alluding to at the start in regards to the trailer and then all the press beforehand and stuff that the actual actors have been saying.
James Gunn flat out said it.
James Gunn, yeah. I went into this movie 100% expecting some major deaths, and we got none. Nothing. Did that bother us? No. It kept us guessing all the way through because, like Ben said, we saw Rocket practically dead at the start. Drax shot multiple times. Nebula's head snapped. I kept kind of thinking, "Oh, this is the death blow. This is the," and we got none of it. So I'm not going to say I'm disappointed, but I was just, I don't know, surprised by it. Efren, what did you think of that? Were you expecting people to die?
Oh yeah, but James Gunn, like he said, he basically said not everybody survives.
He flat out said, like verbatim, not all
But I
of them
was
are
glad
making it through. Yeah,
that he nobody died. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. James, what about yourself?
well, death is the purpose of death in the story is to add weight to
Efren's vibrator on his table.
like it's to add like gravity to what's happening, or it's the natural conclusion to a character's arc. And I feel like in this, I was happy with where everyone. I felt like it was where they should have been, and it made sense. And like I wasn't expecting them all to make it through, so they did the unobvious thing. He did it a little bit cheekily by kind of just saying they weren't, and also like actors have said they're not coming back. So, but the door is maybe left a bit too far open for some of them. Like it's not. It is a goodbye. It's supposed to be goodbye, but it's like, oh well, they could come back if you want them to, and I think maybe one or two of them should have been thrown further away, But
sorry, James, but they can come back in a fluid way rather than going back on a death that MCU and Star Wars and shit does far too much. At least now they can come back and it's not like a...
Because, I mean, let's be honest, a bit like your Robert Downey Jr.'s and the Chris Evans and all that kind of stuff. At this point in time, they're saying they've had enough. They want to walk away. They've done their stint, as it were. 10 years' time, 15 years' time, when the next big Marvel event's out, the door's still open for them to change the mind.
Secret Wars, exactly. They're all coming back. 100%. But what was I going to say? It's gone now. It'll come back to me.
He's on the airplane. He was suddenly scream at the pilot.
Oh yeah, like for example, like Age of Ultron. I came out of that movie going, one of them should have died. Like I didn't feel that with this at all. I didn't feel robbed. Like it had weight
Quicksilver.
to it. No, but like I was like, that should have been Hawkeye, or that should have been someone else. Like to have lent more weight to it at the time.
Nearly got him.
Yeah. But I don't think having them all survive undercut this movie in any way.
I think it improved it for me in some ways because I went in expecting it, and it kept us on me seat a little bit.
Because it felt like anyone could die at any moment, and like you said, this.
Whereas in absolutely they should have died. Do you know what I mean? To lend a bit of weight. Yeah, I think for me, this movie had enough emotion and heartache and ups and downs emotionally that I didn't need the death. Whereas in Quantumania, I did need to feel something. Ben, what about you?
It's genius, because I alluded to it earlier about subverting expectation, and the audience think they're going to get something and they don't necessarily get it. But in a lot of films, you almost don't believe anyone's going to die anymore. You know, you get to the point where, as you say, with like Age of Ultron or whatever, you know, you kind of like, it's not going to stick or whatever. But in this, because your expectations were someone was going to die every time Drax got shot, Star-Lord's floating in space, you know, Rocket's on the death table, you genuinely believe they're going to die. So when they don't, you have that feeling of like glee, you know, that they're not dead, because you were genuinely worried that they were going to die. And you feel the same thing that everyone feels around them. You know, you feel that relief that you know, the team feel when Rocket wakes up, because there was that slight doubt that he actually was going to die. I just think it's genius, and it's so refreshing to see a story, to see a happy ending. Essentially, it's a happy ending, isn't it? And it was kind of quite refreshing to see that done in a way that, as you say, people can come back, but it won't feel ham-fisted when they do come back, or it won't feel like you're retconning this film, because the plot devices are very simple and left open so that they can, if they want, come back, or if they don't, that also works as well.
I thought it was great, and I think, you know, Darren's got a spot on there for me. There were enough near misses that kept me right on the edge. I was the same every time. Thought, oh, this is it. Okay, guys, what's next then? What is next for the Guardians? What do we think?
King James, he's my king.
He's had a lot of grief going over to DC, but this has reignited my passion and enthusiasm for it, I have to say. What do you guys think, James?
Well, Star-Lord coming back was a surprise. I think that you could have just left him there. Like, they effectively have Star-Lord.
I found that cutscene, that end scene, a bit odd, to be honest. So when I came out, the people I went with said, "Is there something we're supposed to know about the son that they were talking about?" Is it?
I think he's just having
the
like
person with
Kevin Bacon joke more than anything.
That was funny, on the newspaper. Did you catch that, Peter?
No, what was that? What did it say?
Yeah, that was the point of it on the newspaper.
Kevin Bacon talks alien abduction.
I missed that.
But I think it was like the conversation was like Star-Lord having like a normal human conversation that's kind of boring.
Yeah, like you don't want to mow the lawn, you know. Just mowing the lawn.
But I'm curious how he'll factor back in. Like I don't think they should have revealed like another lineup yet. I think he could have. We know like Rocket and Groot, and then we know Adam's going to be there. But like Fila Vel, that's supposed to be Fila Vel at the end.
Yeah,
I just felt like that was very unceremonious. Like I didn't realize that until I read it on Wikipedia afterwards.
Fila.
Is it
nice?
Is it
Fila?
Is it Fila?
I pronounce it Fila in my head.
I've only read it on a.
My head's
on
not.
You don't. You know that?
Irish, you can get away.
Fila Vel, you know. Whatever. I don't care. And then Kraglin. Does he need to be there? Really? Like,
I swear to fucking God, James, we're gonna fall out.
I agree with you, James, about the introduction of Fila Vel. I didn't even click that was her, and I've read a lot of her in the comics, you know, and I just didn't put in the age difference because she's, you know, much younger than the rest of them.
Yeah,
I don't know. That was an interesting one, I think. Yeah. Ben, what about yourself? Where do you think we'll go from here?
Well, I think the Avengers Kang Dynasty, they're going to go and get Star-Lord to be part of that team. I think that's probably where we'll see him again. It's just really interesting. You can have a Ravager spin-off now. You know, a one shot. You could have your Howard the Duck one shot. You know, you can have these one shots pretty easily now. I do really think Dave Bautista is done. You know, I think he for his own career, he really doesn't want to put the makeup on again. Maybe Secret Wars, but so I don't think we'll be seeing him. And I guess that means we won't see Nebula because they're kind of in the same place as characters. I absolutely love the new roster. You know, Rocket served as the leader of the team for a long time in the comics, so that was a joy to kind of see. And obviously, we got the kind of King Groot style Groot at the end, which just visually was just so different and interesting. We've got some very young established characters now. We've got Black Panther, who's like 6, Phyla-Vell, who's like 7. You know, so I don't know whether Kang's going to mess with some people's ages, and we're going to get these aged up heroes that have kind of always been there but not quite come of age yet. So that could be interesting to see. Look, there's so much. I think that's what James Gunn's done really well here. He's closed his book, but there's 20 other books you could still write with these characters.
Absolutely.
Then at the same time, I think this movie particularly shows that he writes these characters the best. Like, I think Infinity War mishandled, particularly Star-Lord and Endgame.
I don't think
they're not
it
really
did.
in it much.
I thought
he said himself. He said
well,
himself he didn't like how they did that, like, because he just makes it all his fault for being a dumbass.
But it was the most the joy of Star-Lord as a viewer is that he's one of the most relatable kind of superheroes. He's human, right? And one of the most human things you could ever do, if your lover had just been killed, I'd punch the fucker in the face as well, because I wouldn't be able to keep my cool, whether it meant the galaxy, saving the galaxy or not. I'd probably, you know, so it was just like, I just loved that the Russo brothers did that, because I just thought it completely made the character, and the way that he spoke about it in this film, you know, he kind of come to terms with it and stuff like that. I
like that they addressed it though.
From what about yourself? What do you think comes next?
I'm kind of torn with Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm glad that this reiteration has ended, and I kind of don't want to see anything new from the Guardians of the Galaxy for at least maybe 3 or 4 years. Just let it lie for a little bit, and then bring them back if needed, you know, in the next major catastrophe that happens in the MCU. And maybe bring back some of the original characters. If I was an actor in this series, though, I know Dave Bautista said he's not coming back. You'd have to drag me away if they asked me again.
I think it's unfortunate that they paired him with Nebula, because I think Karen Gillan likes playing this character, and she's only just kind of grown to be like, I would be excited to see what that exactly just to be a more fun character that I like watching. So like, I'm sad that this might be her gone for a while.
Yeah, and
but you do find with characters like that, they stop becoming as interesting when you get them to where they need to be. And James kind of got a lot of the characters to where they needed to be, and would that then be as interesting for another film?
I think I keep on talking about Mantis, but the way they left her, she went to a new adventure. I mean,
she's gone off to be that Madonna thing. But
I would love to see her return, see what, you know, what's happening with her, you know. So, but we'll see.
I've got I know they've not really announced much since, but I've got a lot of stock in these Marvel special feature kind of things. I kind of hope that they really delve into that, or because I mean, if you think about Nowhere, you've got this collection of heroes. You could almost do like a Tales from Nowhere series, where each week's a different character going off, and it might not necessarily be your big name characters, but you could do all kinds of stuff. And if they don't want to come back and commit to a big long film, fair enough, but you know, a one-off special on, you know,
do one with a team up with Cosmo and what's the character's name? Kragan.
Team up with them. Kraglin his own thing then. Give him a paycheck.
I swear to God.
I'm just doing it to mess with you now. They did tease at the end of the holiday special that they do another one though. Remember, he's like, another, so we'll get one with that team.
Could see Phyla-Vell crossover with the Marvels. There might be a reference there.
Because
also
again,
the
in the
Eternals as well. If we get an Eternals too, then that's all cosmic stuff, isn't it?
Because in the comics, she's the sister of Captain Marvel, isn't she? Of Genesis, I think.
Yeah,
the second Captain Marvel.
She's the daughter of the.
She's the daughter. So she's the daughter of the first Captain Marvel. So brother to Genesis, who's kind of the Captain Marvel that I enjoyed reading about.
And if they do another Guardians of the Galaxy movie, whoever is the director is going to have hard shoes to fill.
Anyone strike you that could take over this? Like, you trust Taika Waititi? I felt for a while, but Thor: Love and Thunder now I'm not sure.
I think he's blotted his copybook. I think he's gone. To be honest, with Marvel. Do you think James Gunn will ever come back to Marvel?
No.
He'll
have his hands full. He's Superman directing straight into another DC. He's writing half of the DC stuff for the next few years, overseeing all of it. He'd be too busy. Never
I think like 15 years at least doing.
I think like Jim Lee, he's gone. He's
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
back.
Well, Jim Lee just
Yeah.
became president of the
I
comics.
know.
Of DC
Yeah.
Comics, yeah.
He's staying out of the movies.
Yeah, I mean, one thing's for certain, it's going to be interesting times ahead, isn't it? And I think, you know, me and Ben, I think we're talking earlier or whatever, but for me, this is the perfect trilogy from Marvel. It's the best trilogy we've had so far. Every other trilogy's had issues.
Captain America?
movies. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
even
because
Captain
Civil
America.
War, I don't think is as strong for a
Yeah.
lot of people. Like we
Yeah.
might have loved it, but
Yeah.
I
I think this is the best trilogy. Out of
I
the
put it
three.
next to Captain America. Winter Soldier alone puts it higher for me. But
I think
Mm.
what's good about this whole Guardians of the Galaxy, all the volumes 1, 2, and 3, especially 3, it's got us back talking that we enjoy these movies.
Absolutely, Efren.
Because
Absolutely.
previously these other movies that we've been seeing, I'm like, oh my god, what are they doing? But this one reminds me why we watch these movies.
Absolutely.
like,
Couldn't agree more.
as well as that, like, I don't think the Marvels is going to be this good. I just don't see that
No,
happen.
I
I think
agree.
I'm sure I'll still like it, but not this good. Like, I just
Yeah.
don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Hopefully, but yeah, this. will be
Yeah,
the
I'm
best
with you on
one
that,
for a while.
Darren. That would be great. That would be very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we've wrapped that up. I think we can all agree a very, very strong film. Be interesting to see how we feel in a 6 months' time or so when we look back at
rubbish.
this.
Don't
and
go see it.
we'll pick
Pants.
we're top
4
3
out
or
of
whatever.
10.
I'm going to see it again next Friday with my mates. So it'll be
Yeah, I have to
interesting
take,
see what it feels
I have
like
to
in
take
Mates,
6
we're
months.
here.
I have
What?
lots of
Besides us,
it's just me, really. But I booked 2 seats.
just saying
I
that.
booked 2 seats and say to
Me
people,
with
do you
all
want
my
to
mates.
come? Yeah.
Just like tap the scene next.
Okay, guys. So just wrapping up and talking about what's coming next on my channels. I'm a glutton for punishment, so I'm going live again tomorrow night with some of the guys to do a Saturday Night Live, wrapping up some of the news and talking again a little bit about Guardians and about some of the news that's happened this week. So that's tomorrow night. Monday, Efren, we've got this. This is so going to be interviewing Efren. Really looking forward to that. That should be good fun. Efren, you can show us some of the hot toys you've never told who about.
yeah, I got some more.
Very cool. Very cool.
Ben, I'm gonna send you this picture every now and then. I'll send you pictures, Ben, just to rub it in.
I want it.
And then week after that, we've got the Geeky Art Attack. Looking forward to that one. James, you back by then?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's where a group of will do some drawings, and this time it's going to be computer game related. So looking forward to that. Sorry, excuse me. Ben, tell me about this.
Yeah, so this is Tuesday night, 8 p.m. over on my channel, Attention Seeking Geek. It's Not That Bad, which is a show where I invite people to defend films that they love, but generally might be perceived as not being very good. This was a public vote, this one, so it is one that I'm just going to kind of be discussing by myself. So I am heavily relying on the chat. So please do come along at 8 p.m. Get involved in the chat. I want to have lots of back and forth with everyone, and yeah, we're going to kind of do a deep dive and dissect this film. Also, just chat about the future of the franchise, and there was a bit of news around some sort of potential casting as well. So we'll look into that, and yeah, it's going to be good fun.
Good stuff. Good
I
stuff.
hope.
I enjoyed that movie. I'm surprised people have put that down as a bad one for you to discuss.
Oh, don't you fucking start. Everyone.
No, I think do you not think it's a good
do you know
movie?
who decides? Me, because it's my channel.
So you've decided it's cack. Fair enough. So that'll be fun. James.
Yeah, we'll be doing I'll link in a date when I get back from my trip, but we'll be doing a kind of story breakdown review of Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So I just finished it the other day, and
Oh, you finished the game now?
I did, yeah. It's just like I know there's one more thing at the end of the bounty hunter stuff, which I have to get to. I'm sure there's something there, but other than that, fantastic story. So there'll be a lot to talk about. So we'll just kind of talk about the lore, the new additions to the Star Wars universe, and I'll talk a bit about the gameplay. So
Brilliant. Good stuff. Look forward to seeing that. I just wanted to mention this. Pete GP Venom did his first comic review show earlier in the week where he looked at Punisher King of Killers. That was really interesting, so please do go and check that out on the Rewind. Over the moon. I'm not going to announce what book he's doing next, so I don't think he's told everybody, but it's a very cool book. So I'll be looking forward to joining him on that one because it's one of my favorites. Shout out to the UK YouTube community who do live shows. So after Ben's show on Tuesday, you've got This Week in Metropolis. They've come back with some very strong guests. Wednesday, we've got the Nerd Herd. And I think, I can't remember. I can't remember what they're reviewing this week. I know it's Nerd Herd's Choice. Or GP's saying we can announce it. So it's Thanos Wins we're going to be talking about, which is a fantastic story. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. And then we've got Killer Comic Show on Thursday, where they look at comic book reviews, toys, all kinds of stuff. So check that out. And then the Grey Man on Saturday for his Cover Slingers show. Ephraim, what have you got coming up on your channel?
Gosh, I don't know. Just stuff that I put on every now and then. Well, I may go live. I am going to go live, but you guys will be asleep. I'm going to do it like about 8 o'clock at night. My new segment that I call Comic Culture with Dan De La Torre.
Yeah.
We said we're going to go live our next taping to see how it goes, and it'll only be like the second time I've ever gone live on my own channel. So just to try it out, you know. And yeah, on my Instagram page, I posted not a bunch, but I went recently to Star Wars night at Disneyland, and
Looked amazing. Yeah.
Dr. Von Hoot was when I did my live video. Dr. Von Hoot was around, like I'm telling him to wake you guys up, you know. But that was a lot of fun. I had never done that before, so I'm glad I went. You know, it was a good experience. You know, it was fun.
You get to all the good stuff, you, Ephraim.
Yeah.
Fresh back from Vegas and straight to Star Wars night.
Yeah.
Incredible. Very jealous. Pleased you had a good time, mate.
Yeah.
Okie dokie, gang. That's your whack. That's all we had to talk about tonight. We've done that in nearly 2.5 hours. So, Craigie, good stuff. Thank you very much. James, you're going to be away for a week, so we'll not see you for a little while. So please have a fantastic time. We look forward to seeing you when you come back. And with that, guys, we'll call it a night. Thank you very much to everybody in the chat, and thank you to everybody who's been on the panels tonight. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye.
Craglim rules.